Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. I am back. I haven't been streaming for a week, huh? I think it's been a week because I went to Manila to go to a concert, Mitski concert, and then I am actually currently busy with studying because it's almost the end of the semester online class. But I was able to finish like a lot of videos because it was easy. It was easy. It was just case studies. And I was like, well, I'm good. So I finished one, two, no, three. I actually finished four videos today. I was ahead of my sched. So I was like, I should stream. The reason I wanted to stream is because, as you can see from the video, from the screen, um, there is a special case happening right now on the internet where Mujin made a video about documenting what happened in Love and Deep Space. And here's the thing. The reason, like, Mujin makes a lot of videos. I usually just watch it offline and just watch it like while I'm eating or something when I'm bored, but this one hits close to home because number one, I do play, I do play this game, but not as much as the other game that I will not mention because it's not good. It's not. It's not. I don't think it's good for Twitch, but I do participate in this game because, well, you know why this why this game about this game, and unfortunately I did spend money on this game because why not, why not. It was also very accessible, I guess. It's not too expensive, so I was like, you know what, I'm a divulge. But it was getting too real for me, though. It was like, I think they have like a home game part, the part where you play, where you decorate a house. It was like, um I can get the POV of the woman, with the love interest. And then, but if you see the woman, I was like, I'm not a woman. I'm a man. So like, well. So that, like, cut off the, what you call it, that the dream, the fantasy. But it's still like, sometimes I visit, for the scenes. Because it was good animation, good voice acting, good humping, and it was like, it was good. It was 3D. It's better than the other game, which is 2D and rhymes with gay carnival. Rhymes with gay carnival. I love that game, though. I to this day, I open it every day. I never miss. I mean, I do miss some days, but I have not stopped. Like, I own a guild. I own a guild. I own a guild. I own a guild, or I have a guild, or like I'm the boss or something. Like, I manage a guild, and to this day, I'm the only one who has consistently been online. The others have already, like, some of my, like, the people who have played, I have watched from the guild, haven't played for almost a year now. Surprised, like, oh damn, you haven't played, damn, why haven't you played, I miss you. And then, like, oh, well, a lot of people left, but I still stayed. Honestly, I stay for the farming. I just love I just love farming. That other game, but this game, I haven't. You know what's funny? I downloaded this game on my phone, I think for a year, and I haven't touched it for like almost a year. I only played for like 2 months and then never played it again. And it's been on my phone, taking up a lot of my space, and I just recently deleted it before I went to Manila, which is like 2 weeks ago, and it took a lot of my space. Dude, I haven't touched it, and it took a lot of my space. I was like, oh damn, but I saved some clips. I saved some clips, and I might not open them because I lost interest. Anyway, um today I'm going to be reacting to Mujo's stream. I was supposed to react it yesterday, but I fell asleep because I was tired from the gym. And then also I wanted to give Mujin some time to get some views. Hello, 24 hours. It's been 24 hours, right, since he posted. When is Oh, you should get more views. But oh Valko, I miss you and I'm trying. It's so sad. I saw a lot of people on Twitter be like, "Oh, Valko looks so gay. We hate him." I'm like, "What? He looks more straight than the others." like like Xavier, hello. He looks like a baby. And Rafi, that gay bitch. You can you can just see like I'm not gonna say more, but like, oh Rafi, like out of all the 11ers, Rafi is just so basic. I just don't like. I like I like possessive people, possessiveness. It's that's my tap. That's my tap. But like my bias is Silas and Caleb. I guess I'm fine with Zane, but me and Zane are chill. But Xavier, like really, who goes there? And then Rafi, like that's I don't like Rafi. I'm sorry. I just like nah, nah. That's just it. Nah. And Valko was interesting. He is interesting. And then people be like, he gay. I'm like, especially the China, like I saw like tweets in like the Chinese, in Twitter, Chinese Twitter. They were like, oh, we don't like him because he looks like a, and I was like, what? He, what about Rafi? Dude, oh my god, sorry, my neck hurts from laughing. But okay, okay, so now, where do we start? Where do we start? Okay. God, I am. This game is so hilarious. Though.
If I had $1
Right.
for every time a Chinese gacha game player showed up to the development studio of their favorite game while holding a knife with the intention of assassinating staff there.
Also, I watched the first 11 minutes of the video, and I was like, at first I wanted to watch it on my own, but then I was like, ooh, I could like say so many things from this because I have my opinions. I have my opinions, I have my stories, and I wanted to react to it. I stopped at the 11-minute mark, if I remember, and I was like, I need to like react to this blindly.
Then I'd be at least $2 richer.
Oh yeah, shout out to Mujin. You should go watch Mujin's channel.
And what's crazy here is that this second dollar would be given to me as recently as June
I don't understand the concept of people being like obsessed with fictional characters.
2020.
Like, is it that serious? I think yeah. Unfortunately, look at this. Here we are.
When that exact thing happened. But as a bonus, it also came bundled with a package of literal cow shit, vandalism, and
I did not see like the pictures. I only like when I was listening to this. I only oh shoot.
a large police of
I
literal cow shit,
what vandalism? Where is the vandalism? Is this what is this like white stuff and there's leaves? What is the leaf?
vandalism, and a large police response. Love in Deep Space is the
Love
most
and
successful
Gay Porn.
female targeting gacha game of all time. Easily able to earn tens of millions of dollars on any given month of the year.
Ooh. Like I understand the why this game is so good because like damn, you could never have that feeling. You could never. This was just a dream.
They were, without exaggeration, on top of the world with no competition whatsoever until one day they'd decide to shoot themselves in the foot with a fully loaded shotgun. 1 week after.
This is so sayang. This so sayang. This so how do you say sayang in English? It's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate that they had to cancel. He was so good. He was like, damn, like, better than Rafi, better than Rafi. Fuck you, Rafi. Just
After
damn.
announcing the biggest update the game has had in a very long time.
There was like also I remember like on Twitter there was supposed to be a British guy and they were teasing him to be the new love interest and it was like he looks so ugly. He's worse than Rafi. I was like, is this gonna be the new love interest? But I was like, oh thank God there's another one. This guy's fine.
They do something unprecedented, going back on their word and
Also, they also compared this guy to another Filipino like member in SB19, I think. And honestly, they were like, "Ooh, they look so the same." I was like, this guy actually looks gay." then Falco, what? Cause like they both have red hair, their facial features match, but I think their eyes are weird and their like movements were different. But dude, it like Stella, I think his name is Stella in SB19, right? And Valko, they look so different.
canceling the
One
entire
is more gay than the
update.
other.
The immeasurable.
Oh, ads. Hello, ads.
Disappointment their community felt would spark one of the biggest and most impressive global
So
efforts
sad,
in
though.
gacha game history, uniting people all across
The fact that people are doing billboards for
The
this, that's
globe.
amazing. Damn. Is this from Malaysia? It looks Malaysia or Indonesia.
to buy up entire city
Oh my god, people are really like, yes, yes.
billboards, donating hundreds of
Oh.
thousands of dollars to charity, and even
The fact it's in charity. People donated to charity. Hello. And then the Chinese developers were like, we care for our Chinese players more because I think unfortunately it's true that the Chinese community has more of an impact than the global community, which is so sad. Which is so sad. And they have to like lick one up for the Chinese players than the global
seen
players.
Queso of all people to spread awareness about
Queso.
this injustice. And bear in mind, this is all truly nothing more than the tip of this iceberg, as it's easily one of the most complex topics I have ever covered on this channel. But it's not like I had a choice, seeing that
They wanted it down as most they will actually remove Valko, which is fucking sad. She's clear regarding most of the spike big spenders. She's clear regarding most of the big spenders in US are also surprised Chinese girlies. You're talking about 30 USD per account here. Chinese is more than as long as we hold ground, stop spending, if possible, stop logging in, we win. Well, I haven't logged in anyway. We may not need to fight for long. Something allegedly serious problematic is being reported. Because it's so weird because Infold is also shutting down because of like internal conflicts or something, which is so weird. Like, hello, what's happening? They hired by Infold to stir drama to make us fight Armingo so that Infold now we do not try to respect their players.
my own community had left
Ooh.
over 14,000 messages about this topic in
Girl,
my
what?
Discord server, and even went as far as
I could never like understand it.
compiling an
Discord.
amazing Google Doc about it. And so, why did this money printing machine decide to destroy itself? And how did this become a worldwide phenomenon?
Hey,
Well,
kinda like-
without
kinda
further
like him.
ado,
Could
let's
he be my new bias? Maybe. Oh, maybe. I don't know. He adorable. Just saying.
do this. Alright, so most people agree that the first
I remember when this popped up, I was like, what is this?
gacha game came out in 2010 and was developed by Konami. It was called Dragon Collection.
when,
The best way to describe it was kind of like a
gacha was
knockoff
invented. It's
Pokemon
crazy,
where you
though.
went from dungeon to dungeon and collected as many monsters as possible. And in between certain levels,
This is
you'd
the
receive a
actual
luck-based
concept.
treasure chest that has the ability of giving you
concept of
some
gacha.
really rare items that can boost your stats like crazy. And if you wanted to open more of these treasure chests now without having to go through other levels, then you could pay money to buy them. This simple mechanic that wasn't really popular at the time would change Konami forever. By
Okay. I
2012,
was
their
testing-
console game
I was
sales
testing
were
my
slipping,
volume.
But their
'Cause, like,
social
in
games
my
on social
earphones,
platforms
it's
like
so
Greed,
loud.
meant to be played
I
on
wanted to
mobile like
hear
Dragon
if in
Collection,
the stream
were
is
defying
okay.
every single expectation. By 2012, Konami's net income was up 80% thanks to this game and other games on social platforms. And this made other developers, of course, take notice. Why is Konami making so much money? How can we incorporate this into our games? And so, gacha would start to take over Japan. But it would remain in Japan for a while because, well, the entire concept was from there.
Konami,
The
right?
word gacha
Konami
comes
is
from the
like,
word gachapon, which is
is in
essentially a
Japan.
vending
I
machine that you
forgot.
can find
There
in many
wasn't there like a game or an anime that's like by Konami or something? I don't know.
different places in Japan, with each one having a different themed set of toys
I forgot to do this in Manila. There's like there's like a gachapon in Manila, and I forgot to I forgot that there was one, and I forgot to visit.
figurines,
gotten a new
keychains,
Pokemon.
etc. And after placing money in it, essentially buying a
One.
pull, you'd be receiving something randomly from that set. Now, of course, some items in that set will have a
$40.
very low drop rate, making them rare and very sought after. And the whole point is to keep buying pulls until you
concept
get
of what-
what you want. And that's kind of how gacha games work. Now, as I said, gacha games
For
would
me,
remain
I'm just happy with what I get. People will be like, and I'm like, why? Like, I'm happy. Like, I have two right now, I think, and it's a Snorunt and a Miss. Wait, is this Fluttermane or Mischievous? It's Fluttermane. It's Fluttermane, yeah. Fluttermane. I'm like, you know what? I'm happy what I got. It's all about contentment,
niche and would be
guys.
mostly
Contentment.
focused on Japan for the longest time. But this, of course, would all
Be content
change
with what you
in
got.
2020 when
Also,
Genshin,
Genshin-
Impact would come out and bring
I
gacha
never
into the
understood
mainstream.
the concept
Now, of
of
course, it was
Genshin.
helped
It's so
quite a
boring.
bit by
It's
releasing
like-
mid-pandemic
it's
as
like,
everyone was locked up in their homes. But one could argue that the reason why it succeeded so well was because it felt like a
Like,
full-fledged game.
My friends in my community like love playing Genshin. I was like, why? Why? Who cares?
With gacha mechanics, rather than gacha mechanics with a game built around it. Due to all these elements combined, it still holds the Guinness World Record for fastest mobile game to reach $1 billion in revenue, achieving this
Damn.
feat in 178 days. And just to really illustrate how crazy this was, the previous record holder for this Guinness World
Pokemon
Record
Go.
was Pokemon Go. And that's not all, because Genshin Impact also holds another Guinness World Record, the fastest
5
mobile game to
billion.
reach $5
Damn!
billion, which was held by Clash of Clans.
Clash of Clans.
And while it did rewrite certain
Wait, Clash of Clans was really the rage like back in 2016 or something, because I saw a lot of my classmates playing Clash of Clans, but I never like when it comes to like mainstream games, I really do not care except Mobile Legends. It's the only mainstream game that I actually care about. And then like Clash of Clans, Genshin, Pokemon Go, I did like play into it. There's the thing with mainstream games, I only play for like 1 or 2 months and then whatever. It's so overrated.
expectations for gacha games, it didn't really rewrite the
Genshin, I
demographics that it
never
was
really
targeting.
understood.
Gacha games have always been about targeting the single male with disposable income. One look at the characters that you can spend money on in some of the most popular gacha games in existence, and you understand very quickly that the targeted demographic has not changed.
Men.
You don't even need to take
like,
my
eh.
word for it. The CEO of
I don't-
Hoyoverse, the
I don't
developer
care
behind
about
Genshin
what-
Impact,
I care
would,
about
as far
men.
back as 2011, talk about this topic to investors. He'd say that the otaku have been suffering from huge psychological pressure and that they hope that they can play their games easily so that they can enjoy this feeling of being saved.
2011, right?
He would then say
Damn.
that the games that they're making were specifically
Like, it's so one of the things that interests me is like how a lot of like individuals think ahead, people who are ahead of their time. Like this guy was like, ooh, like we know that smartphones are gonna be all the rage someday, so we are going to invest on this game, and then blah, 'cause it will make, and then here they are now, billionaires. Like, oh, damn, brains, the intelligence that has, the implications that has, the endurance
made
that
for
has.
touchable devices because of a fairly innovative feature they came up with, which is the touch feature. Yep, it's fairly straightforward. This was
Oh,
for
wait.
one of their first major games.
Also, wait, is this why Mobile Legends has a touch feature? They're like, something, and when you touch something is. Also, in that other game that I played, it's also called Gay Carnival. There's like, oh, why are you touching there? And it's like, well, and then sometimes get like, well, I have a dialogue, blah 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 blah. And then when you touch in, it's like, oh, that's. Oh, why are you touching the... That makes a
called
lot of
Honkai
sense.
Impact, and you could pretty much touch the very hot women that you can pull for, and they'll react to it, which will also increase your friendship level with them, just like real life. But if you've played gacha,
When he said just when you touch women, just like real life, they will like you. What? Girl, girl, really, really. Just when you touch women, they will like you more. I mean, if you touch them at the right places, not the inappropriate places. You better say that
games,
right,
if you've come
Mugen.
across
You better
this
say that
logic,
right,
then you must have
Mugen.
taken a step back at some point and asked yourself, yeah, I get it, the established demographic is men, but what about women? Yes, there's a lot of men that are lonely out there that would want companionship from a hot waifu, but let's not pretend that women don't want the same thing. I mean,
True.
come on, have you seen some of the
Freak
books that
books for
some women read? One could argue that in some cases, they're even freakier than men. So where were the gacha games that were catering to their needs? Because they also had disposable income, and it seemed like no one was tapping into that, at least not successfully. You see, there's always been a type of game that's existed
Maiden
since the
game.
early
What is a
2000s
maiden
called an otome game, a story-based romance video game targeted
Otome.
towards women.
Women.
Yes, these games
right. You know what I play.
would be
What I
monetized.
play.
They had varying
Love and
degrees of
K-pop.
success, but they were also extremely
Wait, question is gay carnival is gay? There's reason I'm whispering is because there's someone in the house, and I was like, I don't want them to know that. Well, bye, but like, is like new gay carnival like for women or for everybody? That's my question.
niche, never able to truly reach a mainstream audience. There would be multiple attempts by multiple developers to make a gacha game centered around the otome genre, but none would truly stand out. For
Zenless Zone Zero
example,
is,
even
is an wait. Zenless Zone is an
Hoyoverse,
game?
before releasing Genshin Impact, would release a game called Tears of Themis, targeting the female demographic specifically while incorporating
Yeah, but they look so basic.
Spreading a-
Like I really love that Lads is so like 3D realistic. You can see their abs. And, like
gacha system
that's
around
like-
it. And guess what? It didn't really work out that well. It had released in China in July of 2020 and then globally on July 2021. And honestly,
Hold on, let me check my room. Okay, so I think she's still here. But yes,
the revenue right now is so low that it can barely make a dent in their other titles. Like it
can't
can't even
really
make
say the
10% of what
game.
Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail are making right now. And so the logic was for many developers that if even Hoyoverse can't make a successful otome game targeting
wait. My question though is, what is number one now? This is number 3, number 4. I'm like, who's number
female
1?
demographic, then who can? Well, that's where the developer
In
Paper
flop.
Games came in. Now here's the deal. Paper Games has been around for a while. Their first game came out in December 2012 in China. It was called Nikki Up to You Addressing Story, and from day one, they were
I love the
targeting
concept
women.
of dressing
This
up-
was a
dressing
dress-up
games,
game that was made for them. By 2015, they would release another game called Love Nikki, and for the first time would expand into Japan, the biggest gacha market. In 2017, they would start taking a step in other directions by releasing the game Mr. Love Queen's Choice, a fairly standard 2D otome game. Now yes, it would be niche and would be fairly successful, but more importantly, it would
Better
teach them
than your
priceless
Karma.
lessons for their magnum opus, a game that would
Fukaara's
change
better
everything
enough,
for
sorry.
them and the industry.
I don't know. I haven't
In
played other games.
2020,
Biased.
Paper Games would release a teaser trailer for their upcoming game called Love in Deep Space.
You can tell Mugen also watches this, whatever this is. I think it's called Jubilee videos. Yeah.
And for any fans of otome games, for any women out there that were hoping for a next generation experience, this caused a massive earthquake. This was the first
It was
3D
good,
otome
though.
game to
The trailer
ever
was so
exist,
good,
and
though.
at this level of insane quality.
I
No
watched this
one
part,
had
yeah,
done
yeah.
this before. No one was crazy enough to even come up with this idea. This shook the entire industry to its
characters, the
core, and many were
models,
very interested to see
amazing.
how it would end up performing once
amazing.
it would finally release. Here's the problem though. There was no release date whatsoever. They just dropped this teaser, created a massive
And
earthquake
left.
in the industry, and just left. They would literally disappear, and people wouldn't hear any updates from them for years. That would be the reality until 2023, when something would finally come out from the studio, but it wasn't good news at all. News outlets would report that Paper Games
News
was about to
outlets?
take on a loan of $70 million. And what was really
That's-
interesting here is that
The concept of money, the concept of like loaning $70 million to develop a game that you don't know. You know, like the creators of this game have a lot of balls. You know, they're like, ooh, we need to make sure that this game is successful, because if it doesn't, we'll basically be fucking
the
sad.
person giving them that loan was Hoyoverse, the creators of Genshin Impact. It turned out
But what did Hoyoverse, right? They loaned money from Hoyoverse, and then Infold was like, okay, but if you flop, we'll basically own you by 10%, and they kind of won.
that Paper Games had overextended
the
itself and was
Enfold
developing
one.
too many titles at once and ran out of money. So they asked Hoyoverse for a loan, and Hoyoverse gave it. But the collateral was really interesting. If Paper Games had failed to pay Hoyoverse back their money
Yep.
by the agreed upon date,
Date.
then Hoyoverse would get 10% of Paper Games' share, effectively owning 10% of the
Yeah.
entire company. At the
10%
time, people
of the
didn't really know
company.
what to think. This was a massive loan, and Paper Games was not making anywhere near close that money.
It was like,
What people didn't
I
know
think it was in a one way, a generous way of like helping another company, but at the same time, if you flop, well, we'll basically own you then, because like you can't take back the money that you loaned us.
though was that the plan was simple.
You know.
Internally, they were hoping to
I
repay
think
this
in a
loan.
way it feels like it felt like a gracious move, but if they did flop, the company was still like, it was a win-win situation for Hoyoverse, because if Infold lost, they will own part of Infold, which is a good win for them. But if Infold won, and that would mean that Hoyoverse has part in Infold's success as the game was successful. I think it was risky, because I mean, I don't think Genshin is gonna be that bad of a game. It's already like a big game that appeals to all players. Meanwhile, Lads only appeals mainly for female audiences and gay audiences, and then and then and it's not the same. It doesn't have the same impact as Genshin Impact. So so yeah, I think it was basically a win-win situation for Hoyoverse. That's why it was like a meh deal for
by
them.
releasing Love and Deep Space. They were banking everything on the success of that game, and it was about to come out on January
Also, where do you get $70 million?
2024. However, even with so much riding on this game's success, no one, whether it be from the staff or the executive team or the CEO
I
himself,
still think
could
you're
have
gay.
ever predicted the ridiculous success that this game would find all across the globe. This game's impact on the otome game genre was like what Genshin Impact did for gacha games. In 2024, Paper Games made over $1 billion. And you
I like Zayn,
bet your
though.
ass that they
But we're
repaid
chill.
Hoyoverse every
We're
single
chill.
dollar
We don't like whore it
of
out.
that
We
loan
just
amount.
chill.
It had done what so many others had attempted to do but failed, bringing this genre to the mainstream and incorporating gacha mechanics within it too. But why? What was the secret formula that no one else understood? Well, for many men, the attraction to gacha
Also, what's funny, they're mostly white.
games was about having a power fantasy, collecting sexy
Power
and strong
fantasy.
characters that will progress through a story
Yep.
that centers around them. Thing is though, women don't really want that.
Yeah, because it's Chinese. Like, you know what's funny? There was like, I don't know. It's gonna sound racist, but like there was one time that I saw a video of like a black man like roaming around China, and then there was older Chinese woman was like, "Where are you from? Oh my God, you're so black!" Like you like, that's literally that is the mindset of the Chinese people. It's not really common to see colored people or deeply darkly colored people. So I think there's gonna be some sort of like especially in rural areas, they're not used to seeing black people, and I'm pretty sure like there's gonna be some form of racism in metropolitan areas of China, or like it's not just in China though. It's like also in Manila as well. Like Manila people are racist towards Bisayans. If you're a Manila person, and if you're a Bisaya person, you know you know. If you know you know, issues in the Philippines. One way or another, a lot of like metropolitan areas or like cities are quite racist to certain people, who they feel like are below them. That's why you don't see a lot of, like, in this game, there's not a lot of like dark toned character love interest. If you noticed, there's already six of them. There's already six of them. But I think in the female audience, I think there's the female character, you can characterize the female, right? I think there's already darker skin tones, but not there I don't think there was a skin tone dark enough for the Black Americans or the Black people, which is sad. Inclusivity where?
Love and Deep
I wonder though, if they were to put a black love interest, would they would people love them? No, it's just like, if people don't love them, like, that's so racist. But make them attractive though.
Space
That's to
offered
be fair. To be fair, make them attractive.
them
though.
something different.
You know what's somebody who I did not expect to be like, damn, he kind of hot, and it was Tijo from, wait, Tijo? No, it's Vito. It's Vito from Valorant. I was like, wait, why he kind of, wait, why he kind of, okay, I get it. Cause Vito, I just like recently played Vito. When you say recently, it's like 3 weeks ago. Recently played Vito in Valorant, and his character, it was good. It was, it was, yeah. Let me just say, yeah.
A game centered around being individually known and cared for. It played more like a
Makes me
3D
wonder,
dating
though,
simulator
would there be otome games with black characters?
that caters to your needs. Like a genuine routine that becomes a
Filipino
part of your
characters.
day rather
Or brown
than just a
skin
traditional
characters,
gotcha
rather
game.
than just
And
plain
here's
white.
how it would do that. The game would initially release with 3 different love interests: Zane, Raphael, and Xavier. And Silas would release
Xavier,
right
Silas.
after, with Caleb joining the rest of the cast in 2025. There would be a million different ways of being able to interact with
I love that. I love Caleb because he's so kinky.
them in game, making them truly feel like, well, they're real. While you're in game, they would call you through a video call, you'd be able to text them, and sometimes, I mean, this is a Silas thing, but he would call you his kitten. When
That's
it
normal though. That's I like, because he's that's normal though. He would call, hey kitten. That's his like play, that, what do you call that, nickname for you, hey kitten.
would be your birthday, they would
Also, this is so sad. This is why I wanted to react to this, because it was my birthday 14, like a week ago. I was like, damn, I could have logged in. And they were like, happy birthday. I'm like, thanks. At least some people did happy birthday to me. I'm not a social person. I don't actually I have a Facebook. I don't like post a lot of things. I don't really interact with a lot of people outside of my home, and only the people who greeted me happy birthday was my family, some of my friends, not some of them. I mean, some of my friends, but my close friends, only greeted, and really not a lot, which is so sad, because like I don't really interact with anybody from outside my
all
house.
individually take the time to celebrate it and would sing you happy birthday or do some other things for you. And of course, you could go on dates with them, spending quality time.
There was one time when I was studying, and I was like, oh, let me like let Caleb work out while I'm studying, and like he was working out. I was like, oh damn, he's not done. Okay, and then there was a time like when it's almost done, I was just staring at him working out.
While able to do a variety of different activities together. But I feel like what would really take it to the next level was how developers would keep adding features that made this game a part of your daily routine. Other gachas asked you to log
Wait, what's this? Period tracker. Oh yeah, I did see that. I was like, what? I saw that. I remember I saw that. I was like, oh damn, I don't get periods, but okay.
in every day to get rewards. But
Oh
here,
my
you were
God,
being
I
asked to log
remember
in to
that.
make your life easier. Like, for
The
example, look at this
concept.
feature called
Oh my God.
Remind Me, where you'd get a notification on your phone from
Oh
your
my
favorite
God.
love interest reminding you of something important to you. Like, I don't know, someone's birthday, or the fact that you have an important meeting coming up.
Or
And there'd be this other
oh
feature
my God, I remember
that would come out as well that
That was so like, oh my God, the level
you might have heard of called
It's interesting, and it's also like I think it's helpful for a lot of the women who play it, but damn, that was
the
interesting. An
period
interesting
tracker.
concept.
Now look, there are
See?
a lot of period tracker apps out there for women to keep track of their periods. But love
Wait, also, do women like? I'm not sorry. I'm not really. I don't know a lot about women's health. Because I'm a man. My sister. I never like my sister. Usually just counts. That's why. Because like she just counts. Some women like use trackers because they don't count. And I'm like, oh, it's a period. Okay.
Deep Space was like, you know what, dude? This game is a part of your daily routine, so might as well have that feature too. So when you would get close to
I'm so glad I have a sister because like I don't think I would have been a respectable man if I don't have a sister.
your period or your first day of your period would arrive, you'd have your favorite love interest point that out and vow to take care of you while giving you extra attention while you deal with cramps from the seventh circle of hell. Now, interestingly
Yes,
enough,
yes.
this whole period tracker thing was some sort of a Twitter controversy when it
Created for Gooners. Oh yeah,
Came out.
because there. Ew, there was like a concept in Twitter. They were like gonna, ooh, this YouTuber is gonna have her period. Like, "Bleh, really? Why do you care about that? Why do you care about women's period? Are you
back in
fucking
early
crazy?
2025. Some people would call Love and Deep Space a Gooner game for having a period tracker, but that's just Twitter being Twitter. Because if you're going to
course.
call this a Gooner game, might as well talk about the scenes where you're being figuratively raped.
Yep, 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 yep. I unlocked this. I saw it. I clicked to it, and then
Ew.
here we are.
That's right. Let's talk about monetization. How was this a gotcha game? Well, you weren't pulling for the characters. You'd be pulling for something called memories. You'd meet the
Memories.
characters through the main story. So in other words, they'd be available to you for free. But memories
Sorry.
are these special 3D cutscenes where you interact with these different love interests and, well, end up doing a lot of raunchy things. Yes, these can get really spicy. And it really caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting this level of raunchiness when I streamed this game for the shits and giggles back
Really? Like, oh yeah, cause he's. Oh, when I was there. I was there in the trenches, and I saw it. I was like, oh damn, the levels.
in 2024 with the streamer Box 2.
Wait, am I giving him a lap dance? What's going on right now?
my
I've
god!
been giving him a left.
What is this? We
He's
just get a free
sweating!
deck.
Bro, goddamn!
We're literally fucking.
What's happening?
Is that my tits?
Hey, yo, is that your leg? No, that's your leg. That's your leg. Hey, man!
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Holy mother was sweating and man. Hey, hey,
Oh,
hey!
man,
Oh.
he's bending me
Oh,
over.
Hey, open your legs, bro!
Yeah, it was
Well,
definitely
well.
unexpected on my end. So
Well.
essentially, this is what people spend their money on, okay? Of course, seeing that this is a
The
free-to-play
gird of my loins was on flames.
game, you can earn this currency for free by playing, but many would choose to spend money because other than these raunchy
Of
cutscenes,
course.
you'd also be unlocking outfits for these love interests, as well as gear that would make you more powerful for
Yeah,
story.
the outfits were just like, I don't understand the concept of outfits. People like buy outfits to like, power up or like style the love interest, but I'm like, it's so expensive though. Like you have to actually spend money for that. Damn.
combat sequences because this is an action game at the end of the day as well. All these elements combined would make this game one of the most successful gacha games of all time. Other developers in the industry would be so impressed that they would ask team members from Paper Games to conduct workshops or presentations
Oh,
talking about
really?
the logic and strategy behind
The
making
logic.
this behemoth. Like this presentation that was conducted back in March 2026 in the Game Developers Conference. It will be called Designing Crush-Worthy Characters in
Crush-worthy
Love and
characters.
Deep Space.
How do they like get reference sheets for the characters though? Who do they base it on? Do they draw them from memory or like, ooh, like the developers be like, I have this like imagination of a guy, let's make him real or something?
This would be
Or, like, did they base
fascinating
it on
because
a real
in this
person?
presentation, the lead character designer would describe how the team designed characters that millions of players became emotionally attached to. This emotional attachment would be why this game would
what is this? Region is our world, the world. Ah, Osama Bin Derby is Japanese. Japanese. Naruto? That's a thing in China. And what is this? This is global, right? Global. Arknights, Dragon Ball Z,
make so
AFK
much money.
Journey.
The women playing this game would sometimes spend money when they already had a good enough amount of currency. And they had two main reasons to do so. Number one, they are absolutely in love with a love interest in the game and they want to spoil them. And number two, they want to support the developer. This is not a mentality that you see for many things. Many women genuinely wanted Paper Games to make more money so that they can continue updating the game because no one else had ever made a game like this.
Yeah.
And before you knew it, this game was competing head to head with the giants of gacha such as Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail.
Rail.
By mid 2024, it was making tens of millions of dollars per month. So as I said, it was no wonder that Paper Games made over $1 billion in 2024, while also becoming the #1 highest earning app on the Chinese App Store, which is a
Damn.
very big deal. But by the end of 2024, they would take it another step further, incorporating something that's not really present in mainstream gacha games like Love and Deep Space:
What?
VIP services.
What?
You would become a VIP
means-
if you spend a minimum of $690. And as soon as you reach tier 2,
What?
which starts at $2,100, you
Bye.
would receive gift boxes sent to your
Bye! Oh my god.
address. They'd have special merch and other little goodies. And when you get to the VIP
Special merch. Bye.
2 tier, you start getting personalized
Me when I have a lot of disposable income. Bitch, donate to charities.
gift boxes sent to your address, with more exclusive items signed by your love interest in game once you reach higher tiers, with some being at a minimum of 5
But it's basically like if I were gonna say this, is basically a tip box for the developers of the game. Which
fucking
is fair.
figures. Look at how many people on the Love and Deep Space subreddit would post when they got VIP, like it's a celebration.
Girl.
And you know what's even crazier? These prices that I just showed you are exclusive to the Chinese server, taking into consideration their local purchasing power. But outside of the Chinese, Japanese, and South Korean servers, it has been reported, like in this thread right here, that the minimum for global players to become VIP is to spend around $6,000.
What? 6,000, bitch. My tuition is $700.
Almost 10 times the Chinese minimum. That is a lot of money. By March 2025, Love and Deep Space would start outgrossing Genshin
Oh my
Impact.
god. Wait, people spend money for Pokemon TCG? Why? And it's not even a real thing. Can't you just like buy physical cards, dude?
Honkai Star Rail,
Hello?
Wuthering Waves, Uma Musume, I mean just about any other gacha. The CEO of Paper Games was hailed as a genius, and he would become a billionaire. He'd be interviewed by so many different
See?
publications. And he'd say that the reason for his success was simple, specifying it's not that women don't like to play games, but there are no good games for women to play. He'd also point
Wow.
out that when it came to Paper Games, 70% of their workforce is female. So he wasn't
Fuck.
necessarily the genius here, it was the team behind this
team
game.
behind, true.
For one of the first times ever, you had a high budget game for women
So what happened?
made by women in the otome genre.
Wait, so what happened with the Valkyrie?
And that's what so many other game companies were missing. That's why games like Tears of Themis just couldn't really hit the mark. And this is how Love and Deep Space became a worldwide phenomenon, with billboards even popping up in Times Square. I mean, it would become such a
Times
phenomenon
Square.
that you'd have media publications like Reuters making mini documentaries about how this game took over
Meet the Chinese women embracing virtual romance.
women's love lives. Listen to how they would describe it.
坐在你旁边的感觉。
Chinese civil servant Zhou is in a 6-month relationship with her first boyfriend.
Oh no, I feel like I'm shaming them, but oh my god. Well, if she's happy. If she's happy, she's happy, but okay.
He's a wavy-haired,
Society.
handsome painter. He's also fictional.
Okay.
Shiyu is one of 5 romantic interests to choose from in Love and Deep Space, the world's biggest mobile dating game with some 80 million users, according to research firm Sensor Tower.
80 million users. That is an insane amount of
But the
users.
thing with about you know what the appeal of fictional characters is? It's because they don't hurt you. The way they don't hurt you the way real people do. And I think that's a sad and sobering truth when it comes to fictional relationships, is because a lot of women don't like being hurt by men or like their partners if need be, because the thing with fictional characters is they can never like hurt you in a physical nor abusive manner. Like they are what you call that, engineered. They're engineered to cater towards you, to be nice to you, to be flirty with you, to be kind with you. And this just says a lot about our society. Like real life people real life people are so shit that we tend to go for fictional love interests to cater to our emotional needs. And it's just so sad. It just goes to show our society. Look at this. It's so sad though. That's why, like, I don't want to completely shame somebody doing this, because in understanding their side as well, it makes sense though. And it's sad, and it just says a lot about men. Men, and how we are so emotionally, like, incapable of being kind or understanding. And like the fictional characters are so much better than us. Just saying. I'm just saying it's true. And it's so sad.
But yeah, this app did such a good job of incorporating itself into your daily routine that it kind of made it meaningless for many women to even seek out a boyfriend. It was that crazy. There'd also be a couple different documentaries by the publication South China Morning Post. In one of them, they talk about women that would
Yeah, I saw this video. There was a, also, this guy is a girl. This guy is a girl, which is so funny. And it's so funny, and it's also kind of makes sense, because in her perspective, the cosplayer, in her perspective, she was like, I noticed a lot of women are also like very sad. They know their boundaries, which is so amazing, by the way. They know, the women who cosplay as Silas, or whoever this is, they understand that the women who are hiring them are deeply lonely and need attention, kindness, and feeling, like, addressing their feelings and how they feel. But like, because the society, because the men are just so fucking trash and not kind, and are not taught how to be better people, that they had to go to date a cosplayer who is cosplaying as Silas. And it's a real thing in China. But like, it's not something that I wanted to shame, because it just goes to show the society, man. Society is so crap.
specifically hire cosplayers to dress up as their love interest from Love and Deep Space and go out on dates with them. And in another, they would do the same thing as Reuters. Talk about how some women
What's Reuters? I don't know what Reuters is. Celebrate her lover's birthday, and they have so many
were
lovers.
replacing
And I'm pretty sure like they all, like, they're not gonna fight over, like, he's mine now, he's mine. Oh my god, if he's a real person, that would happen. If Rafi is a real person, they would actually fight. But it's a good thing that he's fictional, because they would be like, yeah, he's fictional. We can all have him.
real life
man."
men with, well, Love and Deep Space love interests. Such massive success comes with its own fair share of critics. And by 2025, you'd have multiple media publications come up with a narrative that it's because of games like this, these otome games, that birth rates were declining. A lot of criticism would be directed towards the game
fair.
and the women that were playing it. Some of these women would start blaming incel culture for this, while others would point out that it's just simply because it's popular. This new dynamic
I think it's the psychology of, like, fictional men tend to not hurt real women, because, like, real women are afraid to go in real relationships and are afraid to get hurt. And it makes sense, because I wish, like, people would take care of their partners better than fictional characters in Love and Deep Space would. Bruh.
would lead to some nasty fights within the gacha community. Like how, for example, on the Chinese internet, some Love and Deep Space fans would go head-to-head with Snowbreak Containment Zone fans, a game that heavily targeted the male demographic. Things got very nasty
damn,
there, and
really?
I would need to make a whole video to do it justice. But
Wait,
it did
what is the game? Snowbreak Containment Zone. Wait. Oh, it was the hair. I was like, oh, what's wrong with this? Oh, it's like, it was her hair.
demographic. Things got
thought it was
very
AI. I was like,
nasty
wait, is
there,
that
and I would
AI?
need to make a whole video to do it justice. But it did end with the government intervening and pretty much censoring the
government.
hell out of Snowbrick. But it's just an example to
Damn.
illustrate to you how this huge wave of attention that this game got didn't only bring positives to the community. However, as long as the developer could keep the Love and Deep Space community satisfied, nothing could stand in the way of this money printing behemoth.
Money printing.
But with so much attention and expectations aimed towards this game, and with so much money being made, as time went on, it seemed like Paper Games was simply not prepared to blow up that much. And that lack of preparation gave them many more problems with their own community than they could have ever bargained for. So remember how I said that this game was all about how it made its own audience feel like they're being individually known and cared for? Well, it wasn't just the game doing this.
Ooh, damn, the opposite.
It was the developer too. Here are some examples. Throughout the year, there
Former coach of Chinese judo's women's team, Olympic champion.
would be multiple time-limited events in the game, like other gacha games. And whenever that would happen, they would take the opportunity to make these educational videos directed towards their female audience that taught them different things that they could find useful, well, as women. Here's them, for example, hiring the Beijing 2008 Olympic champion for judo. And in this 12-minute video, women who play this game would be taught about women's self-defense.
Wow.
Here's another example in which a faculty member at the Mental Health Education Center of the China Academy of Art
That's actually
would
so
conduct
good.
a
That's so
workshop
nice.
about mental health. But this wouldn't just be limited to a woman's needs. Paper Games, being a
Greetings, dear hunters. Damn.
Chinese developer, would also take this as an
That's so
opportunity
cool,
to teach their
though.
massive global audience about Chinese culture. Like how in this video, the director of Heritage Protection Division would teach the Love and Deep Space audience about China's cultural heritage. Them using the game's revenue to fund things like this made many women express the fact that this wasn't just a community or a developer, this was a safe space specifically for women. You can see this
Amazing.
expressed in so many of these different comments. I'm not really
That's
making it up.
amazing, though.
There are people
The
saying that they're
healings.
literally crying watching the self-defense video. And this comment right here, I think, sums it up, saying, "It's crazy and also super amazing how a dating
Amazing,
simulator
right?
is inspiring me and others to take care of ourselves, recognize our self-worth, and even learn self-defense." This is what Love and Deep Space was for so many people. But unfortunately, as time went on, this priceless relationship built on trust would start having cracks form in its foundation due to bad decisions made by the developer, mostly relating to the game itself. What do I mean by this? Well, let's go back to the example of Genshin Impact. It makes a lot of money, and in return, it's meant to give you constant updates. One update typically lasts for 40 days. Then the next update comes along with new events and, more importantly, new story, advancing the plot that everyone's playing the game for. Every update would also typically have 2 brand new characters that you can pull for. And every year, you'd have a major
Rerun
update that
it.
would introduce an entirely new region. Now, as I mentioned before, Love and Deep Space does have a story
Sushi.
mode. You'd have story segments that are in 3D. It's like a 3D visual novel, right? With cutscenes and voice acting. And you'd also have combat. This is easily, by far, the most important aspect of the game. Story is what allows you to meet the new love interests that release, while also advancing the plot with them in it. Because they interact with each other as well. They have stories that tie in together and they know each other, sometimes being friends. So while yes, many players get very excited about pulling for a banner because it involves
Did
a
he play
raunchy
that game,
cutscene,
or-
if you had to ask them
or
whether
did
they prefer
somebody
getting a
else?
banner of their favorite love interest or more story, the majority of them would always choose more story. But by 2025, it
I'm so
seemed
tired of the
evident
story stuff.
that both banners
Even
and
even in my gay carnival game, I just like skip the stories because I was like, oh my god, another story. I don't have time. Let me just farm and then leave.
story content were just not meeting expectations. They weren't necessarily releasing fast enough for a game of this caliber, making this much money. And multiple complaints will start arising within the community that the scheduling is too inconsistent and the communication is just non-existent. Genshin Impact had a new update every 40 days. That was well established.
Really?
Other gachas functioned
Didn't know.
very similarly. It was simply the industry standard. But with Love and Deep Space, it seemed like they just released things on a whim, like as if they were winging it. When it came to limited banners,
There's no
right?
wait, they didn't really organize properly. Damn.
The ones that you have to pull for within a specific time frame, otherwise they disappear, there'd be mainly 2 types. A banner made specifically for one love interest, and a banner with all love interests combined. Now look, when it comes to combined banners, there's a lot of misinformation out there about how it works. I saw many, even Love and Deep Space players, saying that you have a 1 in 5 chance of getting the banner that you want.
From what I have noticed, it's mostly like the solo ones are the dating ones, and then the multiple ones are the fuck liking ones.
But that's not true. There's this mechanic that allows you to select the one banner that you really want and two others that you'd
True.
also not mind having. Once you hit a 5-star, you'll randomly get one of those banners. If you
those
don't
banners.
get your precise wish, the character that you wanted the most, then this mechanic guarantees that the next time you hit a 5-star, you will get the banner that you wanted the most. So regardless of how
Yeah,
many
that
love
happened
interests get added to
to
the
me.
game, whether it's 3
got
or
Silas.
6,
Hey.
the odds will always remain the same.
You're so
Now I want to
fair.
make something clear. Remember how I said that Genshin Impact released a major update every year which involved a new region? Well, the version of this in Love and Deep Space is a new love interest. A new love interest signifies a new region. It adds more story, more lore, more depth. I mean, it was just the best thing you could hope for. But by the time the 5th character came out, which was Caleb, a certain issue became very hard to ignore for the
What?
wider community.
What?
And
I
that
didn't
had
know. There was an issue when Caleb was
to do with the
released?
fact that Paper Games now had a workload that they clearly couldn't handle anymore. More characters coming out with their limited resources meant that some characters would be completely neglected in favor of newer ones.
Oh, but that would be fair. I think they didn't know how to organize, because like it's not in the matter of like who's neglected. I mean least neglected, most neglected. Oh, the older ones were neglected. I mean, whatever. People should neglect Raffi. Oh. People will be like, "How dare you hate Raffi?" I just don't. It's so sad at Zane though. Damn, it's not fair to him. They should like really like balance. Wait, it's been 5 months since he had an update. Ooh, so sad. Dude.
This leads us to my wonderful
Damn.
creation that I call the neglect ranking. I made this to really illustrate to you just how disorganized the release schedule
People
of this
made
game
by
was, as if they were truly winging it. Now, as I said, the most important aspect of this game is story content, but for the sake of this argument, let's look at banners first. So as you can see, the most neglected love interest in this game is Xavier. His last
What? Xavier or Zane?
banner was his birthday. This happens every year for every character, by the way. And it was 9 months ago. Meanwhile, Caleb was 4 weeks ago, and Silas and it was last
What?
So as you can see, the
What's
most
the table?
neglected love interest in this
What
game
table?
is
What?
Xavier. His last banner was his birthday. This happens every year for every character,
This
by
is
the
wrong.
way. And it was 9 months ago. Meanwhile, Caleb was
Tables
4
are
weeks
wrong.
ago, and Silas was 7 weeks ago at the time of recording. Now, yes, you can make the argument that Silas and Caleb released after the initial 3, but
Yeah.
is it really fair to neglect 3 of your 5 characters in favor of the
jeez.
2 newer ones? What if you played this game just for Xavier or Raphael? This was very inconsistent and showed that there was no real release schedule that made it fair for everyone. But if you thought this was bad, then wait till you see the main story neglect ranking. Here, the most neglected is Caleb, the most recent character.
Oh, this is new. So it's a story, right? Mason main story. The most neglected is Caleb. Raffi. People care about Raffi? Why?
The last time he was in the story was in January 2025, 18 months ago.
Oh.
His debut arc when he first released.
Really?
When it came to Silas and Zane, 14 months ago. And when it came to the most favored characters, really, in quotations, most favored, Xavier and Raphael were in the main story 6 months ago.
Makes sense though, because like these two are like the mains, right? I thought Zane was also the main. Caleb and Silas were like, for me, it's kind of like the supplementary characters.
This meant
For me.
that the last story content for this game was on January 2nd, 2026. We're now halfway through 2026, and there was no new main story content, period. That's without mentioning the characters that haven't been featured in the story for way longer than 6 months. So in comparison to other gacha games of the same tier as Love and Deep Space that make as much money, this was ridiculous. They were inconsistent with their release schedule and were not communicative enough about things to look forward to, about dates. And let's also not forget the fact that they refused to make a PC client for this game, even though their other games had it. But this was the game that was making them the most money. And so as I mentioned, this would be a recurring topic
carry
within the
your
community
phone.
starting as early as
vibrator.
2025. It would cause multiple dramas with different points of views giving their opinions on why it takes so long to develop the main story and release content. But overall, the biggest loss for this game were longtime players that had spent a lot of money on it, losing hope that anything was going to change. Feeling like the money and time they were spending in this game just didn't matter, like this money was being funneled to other projects and Paper Games was simply not interested in making it any better. This would start forming a narrative that they were too greedy, prioritizing memories and banners and ignoring the story. It seemed like they
People care about the story more. for me, I care. Here's the thing. Same thing that happens with Gay Carnival. Like the stories. It usually the last time I remember like the story update was like a year ago, and I'm so fine with it though. I'm so fine with it as long as they make new banners every month. New banners every month, and that's like fair. It's a fair thing because there's like the game has like 9 characters now, and it's kind of hard to balance story and making the main story as a whole. So I understand some people are just not patient.
Simply didn't really have what it took to be this big of a developer with so much success. They just weren't ready for it. As evidenced by the fact that things would get significantly worse because they would somehow commit an unforgivable taboo in their own local market of China. A mistake so grave that it perfectly encapsulates the expression of shooting yourself in the foot. 9/11
Mujin, why would you say?
is a tragic event that would occur on United States soil on the 11th of September 2001. It's best known for the 2 passenger planes that were hijacked full of passengers that collided into the 2 towers of the World Trade Center. There would of course be 2 other planes involved, one that would crash into the Pentagon and one that tried to crash into the White House but failed. Now this was an event that happened over 20...
Ooh, if it crashed into the White House, I'm pretty sure if it crashed into the White House, I'm pretty sure it would have been like groundbreaking in the US because the White House has never been disturbed ever since it was made in like the 1800s or the 1700s. So if it crashed in the White House, damn, nobody would have cared about the Twin Towers. Like that's my opinion. The Twin Towers would be like, what? But like the fact that it crashes the White House, oh my god, people care because it's white.
5 years ago. And odds are, if I went to the US right now and made a joke centered around 9/11, everyone would find it funny, assuming I have good humor, except for those who were directly involved in those events, losing a family member, a relative, or a friend. Hell, I could probably make a joke about Pearl Harbor, a tragic event that occurred during World War II.
I like the Pearl Harbor joke. I don't find it kind of funny though because that's the start of the Asian Wars, where America got involved in like the Japan War, which is fine because we also got invaded by Japan anyways, but it was the start of something disturbing happening. So.
And again, the majority would probably not care. That's just how culture works in the United States when it comes to sensitive events. Nothing holds weight there for too long. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to East and Southeast Asia, actually, you know what? Probably the majority of Asia at this point, but let's just focus on East Asia for now. Tragic events, no matter when they happen throughout history, still hold immense weight.
You know what the tragic event in Asia is right now? Corruption!
Even today. Their dates, their anniversaries, their names, they are ingrained into society, and no one would ever dare joke about them. This cultural clash can be perfectly illustrated during the meeting between President Trump of the United States and Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi of Japan. Trump would make a Pearl Harbor joke.
Oh, right? What? I. What? I don't know what to say. What the fuck?
The Prime Minister's face and laugh it off. This is something perfectly acceptable in the United States. This is passable. Takaichi, on the other hand, I mean, you can see the facial expression on her. She was mortified. If she would have made a Pearl Harbor joke, or hell, I don't know, a Hiroshima or Nagasaki joke in Japan, she'd get impeached within less than 24 hours. That's just how the culture works there. And so, this is why it was extremely clumsy and stupid and tone deaf for Paper Games, a Chinese developer, to release a lore chapter on April 2026 about the character Xavier, where they talk about human experimentation and other dark themes, while titling it test record A0731. Like, even if I hired someone to sabotage this company from within,
What?
they wouldn't come up with such a genius idea. When you say the three numbers 731
Yeah, what is that? I don't know.
to any Chinese person who was educated in a state school, for example, they'll immediately think of one thing: Unit 731 of the Japanese Imperial Army during World War II.
What?
This was a secret research facility that was operated between 1933 and 1945.
Ooh, oh no! The lore was so deep.
On occupied Chinese territory, more specifically in Harbin. This is where the Japanese would experiment on over 200,000 human beings from China. They would say it's to advance medicine, but in reality, many of these experiments were just morbid and sadistic. I'm not
So this is basically Germany, like Nazi experiments, but in Japan. What?
going to go into full detail because I'll get demonetized and age restricted, but
Yep.
you can read about this yourself. I can give you an example though. They'd have pregnant women in
Nope.
captivity in Unit 731, and those babies would be born in captivity as well. Those incredible scientists would come up with the idea to experiment on those babies, but not like any experiments. It
Turn them into a wolf boy.
would just be like, hey, I'm bored. Why don't we throw like a few
I'm
babies
bored.
in this frozen river outside and see how long it takes for them to die?
It. I know that he said that in such a comedic manner, but like, damn. What the fuck?
Yeah, I wish I was making things up, bro. This was Unit 731. This is well known in Asia, specifically in China, because of how horrendous it was.
I didn't know about that. I did not know. About
But
that.
it's not really taught to Westerners. It's not taught in schools. In China, though, to this day, even in 2026, you say 731 to anyone, they'll know what you're talking about. There's
I
a
don't know what that
reason.
means.
Many different
Oh, if Mujin says this, oh, and a lot of the Westerners know, and I'm pretty sure, a lot of the Westerners will trash talk 731, 731. I'm like, oh, no. Because I didn't know that. I didn't even know
reasons that Chinese still hold Japanese people in very negative regard, even in 2026. This is without me mentioning the rape of Nanjing, for example.
that. The devil's aircraft bombed again. Oof. Brendan Rivers just laughed.
And so as a Chinese company, to have a lore text about human
Yeah,
experimentation
why did it not clap that?
with the number 731 is just, it's insane. It's genuinely insane. But when it first came out in April 2026, it didn't really bring much controversy. In fact, most people didn't even know about it or didn't really care.
Yeah, because it's like in... I don't know where this is, like... This is
The
like
reason why
hidden.
I'm telling you about this right now is because this is going to bite them in the ass very badly later. For now, though, the Love and Deep Space community was laser focused on one thing and one thing only. When is my story content going to come out already? But here's the thing, ever since the game released with 3 characters, there's always been a coming soon text on the bottom right, indicating that there's
Oh, yeah. As of recent, it was removed.
going to be more love interests to come out. And so when Silas and Caleb released, their updates were so major because they came with more story content, with banners, with all sorts of things. And so many were wondering when this 6th character was finally going to come out, because this meant more story finally after a 6-month drought. Well, around the end of June 2026, the Love and Deep Space community would finally get an answer to this. And while this was meant to be a period of immense joy and excitement, it ended up turning into the biggest existential threat that this game and studio have ever faced since opening their doors in 2012.
Crazy.
All right, so it's now June 22nd, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Love and Deep Space players receive an in-game message telling them that they're about to witness a once-in-a-century supermoon, asking them to go watch a live stream that was going to take place on the same day. This really came out of nowhere, and
Where?
it shows you that they're kind of winging it with their scheduling. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Something like this would typically get like a week's notice. In any case, the supermoon countdown would take hold. People waited with bated breath to see what this announcement was going to be,
Really?
and then, all of a sudden, it was right there. A new character would be announced, Valko. Half wolf,
that.
half human. And as you can see by the chat on the global live stream that has almost 1 million views,
Wait.
and as you can see
Choke
by the
me,
chat
girl, what?
on the global
No, I think I got this code redeemed.
live
I love you, Alpha Wolfie Valka.
stream,
I thought you said choke me. Caleb main story when? It's been 2 years. Uh-oh. Yes, choke him, girl.
It has almost 1 million views. The community was
Somebody said shit. That's like Pinoy.
extremely excited. All of them spamming ow like a wolf, unable to.
I'm so gagged. Oh my god. Oh my god. Look. Info, please is a place. No one asked for this ugly dog. We want our Levis, the ones we fell in love with, not with some Frankenstein monster made from the parts. Bitch, that's literally. They're so stupid.
Wait.
That's like. Everybody is made from the same parts as well.
To see him in action, both in
Falco.
combat, but also
This like
story, because a
Brazil.
new character, as I said, signified a new region. So this was huge. However, in another live stream they would do shortly after, they would announce something else. Another major feature, which was the Home 2.0 update. You'd have a home that you can hang out with your love interests, and this time around, they were adding a kitchen where you can cook together with them and take pictures, etc.
Hey.
However, in the announcement trailer, they would use this sentence saying, "Never bathe in the pot."
What does that
This
mean?
was very, very tone deaf, just like with the whole 731 business, because the Chinese viewers, they felt that it was in reference to what had happened back in the year of 2024, where a man in Shanxi made the soul of his girlfriend evaporate to heaven by pouring extremely hot noodle broth on her using a pot. So due to this,
They couldn't have worded that better.
the phrase bathing in a pot had become dark lingo online, referencing this specific case. For example,
was
you could tell
what?
someone, hey, go bathe in a pot, and people would understand you weren't wishing them well. So already this was causing a lot of controversy, even though a new love interest was just announced and it was meant to be something very exciting. At the same time, in
Ooh, I really love the fact that you can squish your spices.
Falco's trailer, they would also use yet another controversial sentence while teasing him, saying, "Invite the wolf in." In the Chinese live stream, they had used
What? Okay. Chinese. A hunter that is alone at home must be very careful. Compared to the Ian version, the wording for Chinese is more warning tone, which got interpreted as PSA for women living alone. Oh. Oh no. What? Is it supposed to be a safe space? I thought, wait, did they hire male developers now? Oh no. Oh. An uninvited wolf's sudden surprise ambush in the moonlit night. Wordplay and blah, blah, blah. The Chinese version suggests that the wolf showed up without invitation as an attack, whereas Ian tries to calmer wording. A wolf under the moon. Yeah. They are really like trying to kill the Chinese community. Climb through the window, enter the room. What? Chinese tone is flatter as describing a break-in seen in crime reports. EN here adds more emotional coloring with the invasion, window entry, heart invasion. Yeah. Why are they like trying to kill off the the Chinese
the
audience?
Chinese idiom, meaning to invite disaster by letting an enemy inside your home. Seeing that his character concept involves him breaking into the female protagonist's home, that didn't help. What also didn't help was that his dialogue included,
wait, I need you to let me crash at your place for a night. You want to silence any witnesses. You want to kill me. Isn't it a little late for that? Compared to Ian, the CN text is phrased more as a demand, whereas EN is a request more open to rejection. Same goes. What happened to the Chinese developers? Prior to the let the wolf in line, Valor does ask the MC if he can let him stay over one night. The trailer just shows that he's been injured. I will let the whole forest know that you are my food reserve. That's so stupid. So some more like now the whole forest knows you're my emergency ration. This is more cutesy food reserve. I think this is a bit cutesy, trying more domineering here, phrase and action, whereas in passive happenstance. What's so bad about wolves being at the door? What's so bad about letting a wolf into your home? I think that's okay, but I think in Chinese perspective, it's kind of weird. Just the wolf is going inside the house, whereas the end is spending something outside the house. To your home, no, meh. Just peek inside and he'll open the door for you. One peek is enough for him to open the doors for you.
What's wrong with inviting the wolf in? Just peek inside and she'll open her door for you. So, combining this with the whole bathe in the pot controversy, some Chinese players felt that Love and Deep Space was packaging illegal home invasion as a romantic fantasy, using language that explicitly frames a woman's private space as available to enter without consent.
Kinky.
So
Kinky.
this, on top of the whole bathe in the pot thing, went against the idea of this being a safe space for women, and it caused a lot of controversy as well. And if that wasn't enough, the Valko trailer that was posted on Chinese social media would get bombarded with over 750,000 comments, many of them very negative, because many players would express the fact that not only did they not feel safe around him because he'll break into your home or whatever, but they heavily disliked the way he looked, calling it too much of a Western look. Saying things like, can it be released on the international server separately? And telling the developer either go offline or
Dude, just ignore him! Ignore him then! If you don't like him, ignore him! Like, fine, I'll play him, but I will not touch him.
make it
Same with
look
Rafi.
better.
I never touched
It
Rafi.
referring to Valko.
I
Here's
never
this
touched
comment,
Rafi.
for example, getting 300 likes. No obligation to support the new Western male lead, refund, and shut down the server. With many also expressing the same thing by saying, just please release it on the global servers and leave the Chinese server alone, I'm begging you. At the same time, very toxic elements of the Chinese community would sprout
Oh, there's so many Western white.
out and would start insulting Western players, calling them Western white whores while also telling Paper Games, hey, you fucking forgotten who your main donor is. You've forgotten who makes you the most money, us, the Chinese players. There will be some very nasty
Uh-oh.
comments all around made towards Westerners because of Valko being teased.
See, I told you. I think these are people who are, I think these are people who are in metropolitan cities who are, like, more open to racism because they're fucking privileged. Fuck you, fuck those bitches.
But it wouldn't just be his Western look that would turn them off. It goes back to what I was talking about the community grievances that had started spawning in 2025. The whole idea about the inconsistent release schedule, how some characters were getting main story releases and some others weren't, and for some reason there'd be complaints about the fact that the gacha odds are now worse with a 6th character. Instead of having a 1 in 5 chance of getting the banner you want, you have a 1 in 6 chance.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really have no idea why this became a thing because I explained in this video how the banner system works. I guess we can call these people LARPers. And on top of that, there would be
LARPers.
complaints about inconsistent story narratives, saying that Valko is a core leader of a villainous group in the story that has harmed all existing protagonists. So in a way, some didn't want a romantic interest that hurt the other romantic
Girl, that's the point of this game. It's like some sort of redemption
interests.
arc, right?
But honestly, this was surprising to me that this was even a narrative because even in his own trailer, it's explained that Valko is the Eon Core Tech chairman, not having anything to do with Ever. So this was yet another rumor that spawned on the Chinese internet that for some reason spread like wildfire. Are you starting to understand why this whole
Because it was stupid. People are
topic is
stupid.
so convoluted? Like, I'm genuinely so confused half the time. And on top of that, for some reason, I guess maybe it's a cultural thing, many Chinese female players feel like a wolf or a bear character is
bear.
gay. So there were
Wolf equals gay. Bear equals gay.
many complaints that Valko was gay, actually. This was really something that you could find a lot on Chinese social media.
Yep.
And I guess
Find
the
it
problem
better.
with having a gay character, in their opinion, was the fact that Love and Deep Space would attract gay male players.
It already did. Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Stupid bitch.
And they don't want that. They only want this game to be directed towards women. Now, on this extremely ratioed post on Chinese
Oh, what's that? All made. Oh my god, yeah. But like, all male protagonists are heterosexual today, tomorrow, and forever. Fluffy vegetable. Yeah, sorry, I sent you a free vegetable story. We'll see about the rest on July 9th. I'm sorry, I'm just being taken very like, girl. We know they're men. Handsome wolf-like boy. Eyes are shining, blah blah blah, eyes are shining, blah blah blah, fancy ears. I really love that they all men are heterosexual. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, and forever.
social media, they would do their best to communicate with their player base, to calm any grievances they might have and tell them, hey, trust us. For example, this is them replying to someone that called Valko gay, saying, all the male protagonists are heterosexual, yesterday, today, tomorrow, and forever. And they would reply with things like, I'm sorry, after you've calmed down a bit from venting, could you please take a look at this wolf and give him a try? Please. Damage control was in
so
full
sad.
swing. But these replies would be posted on Chinese social media known as Xiaohongshu, and the comments weren't really impressed. They really just didn't like the character, and they didn't really like the direction the game was headed in. This was in massive contrast to the global audience, okay? Like, this is Valko's trailer that was released on Twitter, and it didn't just get 5 million views and a lot of likes. Many of the top comments, in fact, all of them, were very, very excited for him. It would actually be hard to find any negativity on this post. Unfortunately, none of these players are local, okay? They're all outside of China, and the people that had a problem with Paper Games were in China. It wasn't all of them, but it was a very loud and toxic chunk of the community. So much so that they would take this to ridiculous levels.
Oh my God.
Sending literal cow poop to the studio.
Crazy.
Many players would go around the building and take pictures of themselves giving a middle finger to the studio. And there were some that employed an amazing tactic used by South Korean crazy K-pop fans, which is also sending the studio funeral flowers. There'd even be a wolf paw in front of the studio meant to advertise Valko, and it would get vandalized. The police would have to show up and install yellow tape around it so that no one else messes with it again. And to make matters worse, someone live streamed themselves with a knife in front of the building, trying to make their way in.
Is that a
Here are
woman or a man?
Some images
man?
with a third image being censored with the weapon. I wish this was a joke. Here's a 9-second clip that was recorded in front of the studio that kind of shows you the chaos that they were dealing with after Valko's announcement, with someone just screaming insults towards the studio. Watch.
The concept of like hating a fictional character. God! Imagine Joffrey Baratheon. Joffrey Baratheon. That's the one who needs to hate. Bruh.
And so soon after, this would start being reported on by international media outlets. And on top of all this, Love and Deep Space would lose over 1 million followers across all their Chinese social platforms. This was a very big deal, and it was becoming uncontrollable. No matter what they tried to quell the damage, it was done. But that didn't mean they wouldn't try anyway. On June 27th, 2026, just 5 days after the initial announcement of Valko, Love and Deep Space would make an announcement for the global audience, in which they say, Dear Deep Space Hunters, recently the development team has received a great deal of feedback and many suggestions regarding the game. We have also heard your concerns about the team's capacity to consistently deliver high-quality content in the future. So this has to do with their inconsistent updates, right? We would therefore like to take this opportunity to respond with the care that your trust and expectations deserve. From the very beginning, we have hoped to make Love and Deep Space a romantic world that continues to grow alongside every Deep Space hunter, a world filled with more diverse experiences and lasting companionship. This hope has guided us throughout the game's development and remains at the heart of everything we are working toward. The development of Valko and his related content is part of the long-term content plan for Love and Deep Space. However, we recognize that the way the information about Valko was presented did not give sufficient consideration to your expectations and concerns regarding the game's future content plans. As a result, many hunters have been left with questions and worries since Valko's initial announcement. We sincerely apologize for any frustration and unease this has caused. We have also heard your concerns about whether future content can continue to be delivered consistently without compromising on quality. Please be assured that the Love and Deep Space development team has continued to grow since the game's launch. The main story chapters you have been waiting for are currently in active development. The stories of Farspace Colonel Caleb and Onikinus leader Silas will continue, and a new series of Solar Slot memories will also be arriving soon. The development team will continue to deliver richer game experiences and high-quality content on a consistent basis. We also understand that these concerns are not simply about the pace of updates, they come from how deeply you care about Love and Deep Space and the love interests who have been by your side throughout this journey. It is because you cherish every moment you have shared with them that you hope this companionship will continue for many years to come. For this reason...
Wait, here's the thing though. With Caleb's story, I didn't know, I wasn't updated on how he went back to life, right? Because like, if I remember from the story, it's the storyline, he kind of exploded, and then you're like, oh, he's dead! And then he just came back to life, like, oh, you're alive. Yeah, and hot. No.
We want to make this commitment to you. The stories, companionship, and future of every love interest will always remain an essential part of the long-term plans for Love and Deep Space. This will not change for any reason. Enclosed with this letter are Deep Space Wish 10 and Empyrean Wish 10. Please log into the game before July 23rd to claim them from your in-game mailbox. Once again, we would like to thank every Deep Space Hunter for the encouragement, honest feedback, and support you have given us throughout this journey. We know that it is your unwavering love and support that give meaning to everything we do and guide us forward. In the future, the development team will keep working hard to bring you more high-quality content and a better game experience worthy of your support. We hope you have a wonderful day in Lincoln City and many more wonderful days to come. Signed, the Levin Deep Space Development Team. And so look, this was in reference to the fact that in this game there's currency. Currency you can earn by playing the game that you can also buy. This announcement for Valko came out of nowhere. Some people were probably not prepared, didn't save up enough to be able to pull for his banner, and they didn't really want to miss out on the memory. This was Love and Deep Space acknowledging that the announcement came out of nowhere and that in the future they would keep them updated ahead of time while also taking
really
into
manage
consideration that they should probably have a
their
more consistent schedule that takes every
schedules.
love interest into account. This gave hope to many global players who might have had grievances with the game's development schedule, and many had a lot of
Grammarly. When you're
Nice.
working on yet another cover letter for that internship, and it starts to sound a little not
optimism. However, global players were not their main concern right now. It was the Chinese players, and they were about to pull out a very dirty strategy to punish the developer into kneeling down and obeying their wishes, which is removing Valko from the game. And that strategy involves getting the attention of the Chinese state.
State? No. Seriously, they go to these levels? Those horny bastards. Seriously? For that? Really? Really? Ladies. Really? You called the Chinese government because there's a gay man and this oh no, a gay. Oh no, we should report this to bruh. We should report this to report this to the state.
So, remember that good old test record A0731? Yeah, well, even though it came out in April, it would get brought out again in June during the Valko controversy, and so a new narrative would form. Paper Games is an enemy of the state, and they
Really? You're willing to destroy a company so that you will lose. You lose the guy anyway. Stupid bitches. Stupid. That's so stupid.
have a Japanese mole
Ruining the game for everybody else because you can't get what you want.
inside.
You know what you are? Karens. You'll be like, ooh, we hate these white whores. I'm like, you're basically the same as them. You're the same. Basically the same as them.
That is there to mock the Chinese people and their suffering. So within just a few days after Valko had been announced, this narrative would spread like wildfire, so much so that it would force Love and Deep Space to make a statement on the 29th of June, talking about it as well as the other grievances the community had. It would be posted on the Chinese social media website known as Weibo, and here's what they'd have to say after translating it through Google Translate. Recently, we have noticed many discussions circulating online regarding the game and promotional content of Love and Deep Space. We sincerely apologize for any misunderstandings and negative experiences caused. Thank you for your continued attention, and we will humbly accept opinions from all parties. To avoid such content affecting the gaming experience of our players, we would like to clarify and explain these issues as follows. Number 1. Date controversy in the world's depths. Harmony with Light and Dust. We received feedback from players that the Harmony with Light and Dust update on April 21st contained a number that could easily lead to misunderstandings. We took this very seriously and immediately conducted an internal investigation. It has been confirmed that the number is a fictitious date, a placeholder without any actual meaning, and has not been packaged in any way. We fully understand the
supposed to.
potential misunderstandings that this random number may cause and will complete the online modification as quickly as possible today. This issue exposed the lack of sensitivity among some members of the development team. We will strengthen training to prevent such situations from recurring. We will also further improve our internal review mechanism, paying attention to every detail to ensure the quality of online content. Number 2,
There'd be so much
controversy
stress.
arising from some marketing copy. In the promotional material released on June 25th, marking 3 days until the livestream's countdown, the phrase, taking a bath in a pot, was accused of containing a suggestive reference. In reality, this copy was a teaser for the upcoming Home 2.0 update's kitchen gameplay, written in a non-everyday style to match the livestream's strange...
Yeah, but it's still weird. Like, we say don't take the bath in the pot. That's still a weird thing to say. You could have like said like, be careful with that knife, or like stir carefully, stir the pasta carefully, or like literally could have worded anything else. What were you saying? Taking a bath? That's the weird thing to say. Who would like to take a bath in a pot? Like a boiling pot? like that's what people assume. A boiling
Tales
pot.
of Rules theme. So this is badly translated, but what they were saying was the teaser was like in a horror theme, and this was meant to match this horror theme. This is why they used that phrase. It had nothing to do with that incident that happened in 2024. They would then continue and say, due to the widespread circulation of misinterpretations for this content, all related content has been removed to avoid unnecessary confusion for players. We urge everyone not to believe such rumors. Furthermore, the inviting the wolf into the house text in the trailer released on June 28th, The Law of Instinct, is simply a copywriting element related to the new male protagonist's werewolf identity and has no other meaning. We have noticed some controversy surrounding this text. To avoid affecting the player experience,
Sorry. I'm I'm in Twitter. I'm scrolling in Twitter to like check some stuff, and there was like a Twitter person like, remember when BB Nose did a Leon Kennedy cosplay so ugly that people dug up his past for actual reasons to cancel him because of it. And I saw it. Somebody said, I remember commenting, don't you ever do some shit like this again in your life, and my comment was deleted. And there's a picture attached to it. It's like, oh my god, it was so bad. It was it genuinely looks so terrible.
this text and all related materials will be uniformly changed to Pure Love Wolf King. And then in the last part of the statement, they would clarify, we don't make characters specifically for one audience or demographic. This idea that it's a Western male character is just not true. And also this rumor about us being an all gender oriented game is utterly
All gender. We hate one gender. Oh shit! Oh no, we only cater to one gender. That other gender, fuck them. T. Ooh.
absurd, ignoring our consistent positioning as an otome game. In other words, no gays allowed, okay?
What? Huh!
This is a female-only game. Stop
Yup.
with these stupid rumors.
Yup. Time to I think I deleted the game. Yup.
They also defend
Well, I deleted the game. Hey.
themselves. As a Chinese company who have always considered this our responsibility and have never stopped promoting
They really shot themselves in the foot and in the ass. And in the
Chinese culture overseas. Like, they just took a stand here and reminded everyone, yo, these rumors are absurd.
And now another game was recommended in my ads. So great.
We do so much to spread Chinese culture overseas to Western players. You saying that we only care about Western players and don't care about Chinese players is ridiculous. And so this post would get over 1.6 million likes, but also over 200,000 comments. The top comment would be saying, I'd rather take Valco off the shelves. With over 136,000 likes, the reply to that would be,
Really?
remove Valco from the platform. And another reply would say, our demands are, number 1, remove Valco.
Girl.
Number 2, compensate for gacha resources. And number 3, the production team should deeply reflect on their own problems and issue an apology, while promising to not add any new male leads. In fact, all the top comments are just shitting on the developer, saying that they deserve all the controversy going their way, and that this was a bad statement.
This is so. I mean, do you think that's the fault of the developers for making, crazy, like having a crazy audience? I think that, yeah, that's fair.
Now, new rumors were popping up. Paper Games was arrogant. They don't know how to apologize. They don't know how to take a step back. They're an enemy of the state, and they're not even apologetic
Enemy
about
of the
it.
state.
What didn't
Oh my
make
God.
it any better to Paper Games, honestly, is the fact that they would replace the 731 number with 611, which was another tragedy that involved
picture?
Japanese forces invading the town of Daojiao. 3,000 villagers were
What number should it is? 000 na lang. What number should I put?
rounded up and killed, and you know how stories go with the Japanese, okay? They're literally the evil villains of Asia up until after World War II, when they became the anime central capital of the world. I really need to specify here though, I haven't seen a single screenshot showing that whole 611 mistake. This most likely seems to be yet another false rumor created on the Chinese internet that spread even to the West.
Oh,
But like the
no.
other things so far in this video that you've seen, it had already spread like wildfire and created yet another rumor involving the CEO. Paper Games wasn't just an enemy of the state, the
Stupid ass
CEO
rumors.
also was. Why? Because he studied in a Japanese university by the name of Waseda University as an economics major. So he was the internal mole. He was the one who put 731 on purpose because he hates China. He's actually a secret Japanese citizen. But here's where things truly got out of control when it came to the whole 731 situation. I know, it already got out of control. They're being made to be an enemy of the state. How could it get any worse? Well, you would have multiple media outlets in China create articles in which they would attribute the number 731 with Valco specifically. You'd even have the news publication Beijing Daily, which is of course government affiliated, talk about this too, and talk about 731 and how it's associated with Valco. In reality, this was false. This was an archive file that was talking about lore relating to Xavier. But this misinformation had spread so far and wide because it was literally being talked about by news publications that many took it as fact. Oh, so Valco is not only ugly and looks like a Westerner and doesn't care about the Chinese audience, but he's also an insult to Chinese culture and China as a country because 731 is associated with his lore. That's false, and many Westerners also were caught with this misinfo, believing it to be true. This was becoming a very big problem to Paper Games. I mean, these news publications were publishing shorts in which they talked about Paper Games' statement and were associating 731 with Valco. And other than just media publications, you even have associations, like the China Women's Association that is affiliated with the government, also make content expressing outrage at the whole letting the wolf in sentence, or the whole never bathe in the pot sentence, pushing the narrative further that this game is not safe for women, that it's their enemy. They weren't alone in this regard, because there would be another association by the name National Defense Education that would make a blog post echoing those same statements. But believe it or not, things would get even worse. The people who wanted Valco gone wanted the attention of the government by any means necessary. And other than creating the narrative of enemy of the state, they would also do something else that's sure to attract eyes from the government at any given
Chinese fans are crazy.
moment in time. And that is creating countless complaints to the China Consumers Association, saying that they got scammed by this company. Over 60,000 verified complaints were made in the span of
60,000 verified complaints. 60,000 bitches.
just a few days. And honestly, it doesn't even matter if they're real or not, okay? This is a way that many Chinese people boycott or target companies that have screwed them in some way. Because at the 40,000 complaint mark, automatic safeguards get triggered at any given company. This means that automatically, the China Consumers Protection Agency contacts that company just to see what's going on. And so, with this unbelievable and unprecedented pressure that was put on Paper Games, even with them already addressing this and doubling down, kind of defending themselves, on June 30th, they would post a letter pretty much announcing that they were going to cancel Valco's release and not release any more love interests in the game for the
They really... That's so sad though, because like they if they limit their character set oh my god, oh my god, what the fuck. I was scrolling on Twitter and then there was a gif of Marceline eating something and then her boobs got bigger and it went out of her shirt. Her shirt exploded. Oh my god, I need to clear that image out of my head. Oh my god, what the fuck was that? Oh god. Oh god, let me go back to the story. It's just so sad that Infold like gave into this, because I don't think for me in terms of longevity that it's sustainable. I guess it would have been better if they have more love interests for, but I think the question would stand if the women gonna be divided in choosing which love interest would they choose, you know. I wish that they didn't cancel Valco. And then they would have said, okay, Valco is the last love interest. Then it would have been fine. Then it would have been fine if like Valco was the last love interest they would ever make, and then it'll be fine. And then like just focus on those 6 characters until the very end. You know, that would make sense. But like, damn, it's just so sad. The amount of effort that they did for Valco and it all just went away. It's just kind of bad.
Foreseeable future. Just as a reminder, it had been barely a week since the first trailer for Valco, and they were already canceling everything. So this is like as if Genshin announced an entirely new region and a week later decided to cancel the entire thing and said, hey, by the way, no more regions. The game's done. This also meant that all the story content that was finally going to come to the game after a 6-month content drought was going to be cancelled too.
Yep.
It genuinely could not have been worse for anyone who likes this game. To announce such a big update and cancel it after barely a week, this had never happened, especially for a game of this scale. This post would be viewed over 26 million times and would have over 40,000 replies. Many of the top ones were ratioing it. They were in utter disbelief that Paper Games would bend to such toxic and loud people in the Chinese community. This game was created to make you, as a woman playing it, feel seen and acknowledged, and yet, with this announcement, they had essentially told all global players, we don't care about you even existing. That's how it felt. Even though they were put between a rock and a hard place, even though they were cornered by what was going on in China, this still felt horrible for just about anyone who ever played this game. You go anywhere, whether it be Twitter, Reddit, any other place this community was present in, and you would see just the disbelief. They genuinely couldn't believe this had just happened. But honestly, if you took a step back, none of this really made sense. This was really overblown for no reason, and anyone with common sense could see that. A huge chunk of Paper Games revenue came from global players, so how come they were just forced to bend the knee so quickly? Well, that's because they had become the worst thing you can ever be in the country of China, becoming an element of chaos.
What?
Okay, so let's get one thing straight. There was a timeline to this, and it wasn't always about being an enemy of the state or whatever. This had started out with consumer dissatisfaction about Valco, about the fact that he looks gay and Western and all that stuff. But then Chinese video publications would start twisting it into something way bigger than it actually was. It went from consumer dissatisfaction to women's safety to becoming an enemy of the state with 731 to Paper Games refusing to take responsibility, being arrogant. And eventually, because of how badly Paper Games was portrayed in media, this wouldn't just be about, hey, let's just cancel this character. This would be like, hey, you deserve more punishment as a company. You deserve to go bankrupt. And hence why they had become an element of chaos. So what is that exactly? Well, it's a term I came up with, I guess. But in China, the most important thing that has to be maintained is order. As soon as something goes against that, as soon as something interferes, then they become a problem. A great example of this actually happened to Hoyoverse back in 2021. The reason? Well, Hoyoverse had released a music video of Honkai Impact characters dancing in bunny suit outfits. They had not released it in
What? It's raining outside.
Actually happened to Hoyoverse back in 2020. Badly Paper Games was portrayed in media, this wouldn't just be about, hey, let's just cancel this character. This would be like, hey, you deserve more punishment as a company. You deserve to go bankrupt. And hence why they had become an element of chaos. So what is that exactly? Well, it's a term I came up with, I guess. But in China, the most important thing that has to be maintained is order. As soon as something goes against that, as soon as something interferes, then they become a problem. A great example of this actually happened to Hoyoverse back in 2021. The reason? Well, Hoyoverse had released a music video of Honkai Impact characters dancing in bunny suit outfits. They had not released it in China.
A man has been apprehended after allegedly plotting to assassinate the founders of media and studio manufacturing. What?
Chinese players took grave offense to this and started calling Hoyoverse a traitor, an enemy of the state. Hence why
God, they just put blame on everything and call it an enemy of the state. Hey, I planted a flower. Enemy of the state! How dare you! Dare you plant that? And they're like, oh, let me give you some water. How dare you give me some water? Hey, let me give you this hot dog for free. How dare you? Nothing is free.
Someone tried to assassinate the CEO. Yes, it was over the stupidest thing imaginable. Yes, but that wasn't even Hoyoverse's biggest worry, because people would employ the same strategy used against Paper Games, mass reporting Hoyoverse to the Chinese Consumer Protection Agency and creating a narrative online that they are an enemy of China. Eventually, this would prompt them to delete that Bunny Girl dance music video off every platform imaginable, while also releasing an apology. They would give their players some crumbs as a reward, while giving the Chinese players almost 3 times the amount of rewards, apologizing to them for doing this unforgivable thing. I had made a video about this almost 2 years ago, so it really shows that even a company like Hoyoverse is not immune to this. This was after Genshin Impact had come out, by the way. The way they were able to get past this without any issues was by apologizing, removing the music video everywhere, and having the CEO join the political party of China.
Oh my.
This was
government. This is the government. Government.
pretty much saying, hey guys, I'm not your enemy, I'm not a traitor, look. Because when the government gets involved, everything becomes existential. And this is exactly what was happening to Paper Games. On the 8th of July 2026, the Ministry of Public Security would publish a statement about what was going on with Love
Oh
and
my
Deep
god.
Space.
Wait, the Chinese public security?
I mean, this is pretty much the government saying this. They'd say recently an
It
online
got so deep, dude. It's
game
so
targeting
stupid.
female players has sparked widespread controversy. The game features a storyline where the male protagonist breaks into a woman's home late at night, accompanied by offensive promotional slogans such as, "What's wrong with letting a wolf into the house?" packaging the illegal act of trespassing as a romantic encounter. This kind of entertainment-driven, traffic-driven creative work disregards public order and morality, crosses legal boundaries, and may ultimately endanger public safety. The safety of women living alone is a serious public issue concerning personal rights, social order, and the protection of women's rights, and it is by no means material for arbitrary adaptation or meme creation. Chinese law strictly protects citizens' rights to housing, and no one may illegally intrude. China's criminal law clearly stipulates that those who commit the crime of illegal intrusion into a residence can be sentenced to imprisonment for up to 3 years or detention. If a game packages such behavior as fun interaction, it may be suspected of promoting and glorifying illegal and criminal methods, which is not only a disregard for the authority of the law, but also a blatant transgression against the spirit of the rule of law. Even more dangerous is its intangible erosion of public perception. This creative logic that prioritizes traffic can easily mislead the public, especially causing cognitive biases in minors whose minds are not yet mature, weakening their vigilance against dangerous behaviors and seriously undermining the effectiveness of public safety education. I just want to point out that this game is not for minors, okay? It's mature only, 18 plus. But still, this was the narrative and you couldn't do anything about it. They would then continue, some might argue that games are games and reality is reality, they shouldn't be confused. However, facts have shown that online game content that crosses ethical boundaries can seriously negatively impact the healthy development of teenagers. In 2018, 15-year-old Xiao Tang became deeply addicted to a violent video game. Seeking the thrill of killing in the virtual world, he brutally murdered his 23-year-old female neighbor. This tragedy.
I think that's a problem with a lot of games these days. I think that's I don't think it's just the games, it's also the influence. Also anime. I also blame anime for like influencing these children. I mean, if you don't know, like there were two students, 14 and 15 years old, in like somewhere in forgot what part of the Philippines was that. There was like a school shooting that happened, and it was from a 14 and 15-year-old, and the government blamed, who the government blamed? The games. Not the parents, not the people who own the guns, not the influence of the children, the game owner, the game of Gorebox from Roblox or something. And I was like, wow. I don't think it's entirely because of the game.
To everyone.
It's
You
the
then have an
influence,
image
man.
of Valco. So Valco was acknowledged by a government agency as being a source of a problem, and then they would continue,
It's so
the virtual
sad.
space created by online games is never a lawless zone. Laws and regulations, such as the regulations on the governance of online information content ecology and the regulations on the protection of minors online,
So many
clearly
roads,
prohibit the
I'm so
production
bored.
and dissemination of content that may incite minors to imitate unsafe behavior.
Wait, minors? I thought this game is 18 plus.
Induce bad habits, or violate social morality, thus setting a clear bottom line for the creation of online game content. As of now, all relevant characters and storylines in the game have been taken offline for rectification, a move that addresses public concerns. However, taking it offline is not the end. Deeper reflection is needed. This incident serves as another warning to the industry. Any content production that deliberately blurs the lines of illegality, glorifies dangerous behavior, or undermines public safety will ultimately be subject to legal sanctions and public resistance. So here they were acknowledging that Valco got removed, that this was the right step, but that deeper reflection was needed, indicating potentially even further censorship now that the game had a target on its back. They would then end this by saying, to address the chaos in online game content, a comprehensive approach is needed across the entire chain of creation, review, and regulation. Game companies must abandon profit-driven motives and improve their multi-tiered content risk control and review systems to eliminate misleading and harmful content at the source. Regulatory authorities should adhere
God,
to strict
the statement is so long. My
governance,
train of thought was
refine review
gone.
standards, and resolutely hold accountable companies that overstep their bounds and violate regulations. Simultaneously, families, schools, and society must work together to strengthen legal and safety education for teenagers and safeguard the healthy growth of minors. The title of this, by the way, was Glorifying Intrusion is Unacceptable Even in Online
Glorifying intrusion.
Games. This was a disaster. Attracting the eyes of a government agency like this and having them write such a staunch article against you was the literal last thing you wanted as a Chinese company. You'd rather have your entire executive board get fired than this. Now look, the global side was already in disbelief, and I'm going to talk about how they did their best to fight against this decision. But seeing that Chinese media was talking about this, and seeing that this article from the Ministry of Public Security had been made, many global players would start spreading misinformation. Like this person right here would make a post with over 2 million views in which they would write a fan fiction saying that someone powerful in the Chinese government got angered enough that now all otome in China could be permanently affected. Or how this post with over 1 million views would say that allegedly the dev team is threatening to leave Paper Games if Valko isn't reinstated. These things are not confirmed in any way, shape, or form.
It's a rumor.
But this is what happens when the developer of a game is on a different internet than yours, using an entirely different language. But global players, as well as many Chinese players, weren't simply going to sit idly by watching their favorite
sad.
game
A lot of people were like committed. What is the US? The US of Valko.
destroyed right in front of them. And so, a global movement would be born overnight. A movement that is unprecedented in terms of scale that I have never seen before. Barely 24 hours after Paper Game's very unpopular announcement saying that they were going to remove Valko from the game, a new topic would start trending on Twitter with hundreds of thousands of posts within 24 hours and millions of posts within 1 week. The hashtags Valko is loved and We love Valko would go absolutely viral, and global players would demand that he come back home.
Come back, though.
As I mentioned earlier, this was
Which is so sad. I don't know if I don't know. I don't think Lads is gonna release Valko now because like they're so committed because they're Chinese based company, and I don't think they really have the developers in a chokehold and they can't get out.
overblown, and the audience
Silas kidnapped MC. Raphael Caleb stalk MC. Caleb Caesar's little sister. Well, Xavier's bitch ass can cook. Zane, you nasty bitch, you fucking your patient. And now I'm uploading the clip.
for Love in Deep Space wasn't stupid. Oh, boo-hoo, he snuck into your home? Well, what about the other love interests? Silas kidnaps you, Raphael and Caleb stalk you, and one of them is your adopted brother that you grew up with as a kid, and then later on, when you both grow up, you're there just scissoring like chimpanzees in heat. This just didn't make any sense. And while yes, 731 was a really, really stupid mistake, it was in the game for 2 months before people somehow now finally noticed and took offense to it. It was overblown, it felt staged, and it just didn't make any sense. But Paper Games had made their decision. They removed Valko and actually took this seriously. And so, the consequences immediately took place. If they thought that these toxic Chinese players were their biggest problem, they had no idea what they were dealing with. A huge chunk of silent Chinese players that weren't toxic and crazy would be very disappointed in Valko's cancellation. In fact, you can track revenue that the game makes in China, and while there were many people frustrated over Valko looking Western or gay or whatever, their revenue would only start taking a dip after they had canceled Valko, showing us two things. The first being that they might have underestimated how many Chinese players actually liked Valko, and the second being that maybe Western players also underestimated.
Trolls! Stupid bitches! Non-existent stupid bitches that haven't gone to school. Girl!
How many Chinese players were going to boycott this game because of the whole 731 situation. Within just a week, they would lose 50% of how much
they lost all their audiences from the 731, from the gay Valko, from the canceling Valko, who love Valko in the global stage. Hello.
Usually make. Within less than 24 hours, they would lose over 100,000 followers on multiple platforms, and eventually they'd lose over 100,000 on TikTok, and would lose so many on Instagram that they would end up privating their profile. They would also get absolutely review bombed on the Apple App Store with a rating that's now below 3 out of 5. And on Google Play, their rating is now 1.3 out of 5. One of the most abysmal ratings I've ever seen. Hell, people were so pissed that they brought back a good old tradition that had occurred during the first anniversary of Genshin, which was not only review bomb the game, but also review bomb Google Classroom. If bad reviews start reaching Google Classroom, you know that this controversy is massive. At the same time, you'd have a petition on iPetitions get made that has over 240,000 signatures to bring back Valko, and you'd also have a Change.org petition with almost 100,000 signatures now. With Change.org's own...
But if you think about it, you remember the Chinese app where there are like, the social media Chinese app Weibo, It had 136 likes. The one that hated Valco. And there's a petition for 90,000. I'm like, girl, like, it's still not enough though. They had to choose one.
social media page, making a tweet about it, bringing more attention towards it. One Love and Deep Space player would take this even further and report the game to the Consumer Protection Agency of their country, Mexico, because this was a false promise in their opinion. This is a product, something was advertised, and then withdrawn, which makes it false advertising. All of Love and Deep Space social media would get flooded with hashtags such as Bring Valco Back. Even their ads on TikTok would get absolutely flooded.
Yeah.
Compared to this, what was going on in China was nothing. Everything here was being absolutely invaded.
In China, in the global stage, bring back Valco. In China, don't bring back Valco.
And to show the developer that this was financially a really bad mistake on their end, someone would create a website in which you could enter how much money you spent on the game and attach a message to it. So far, the amount of cumulative money that was spent in the past by players who chose to support Valco is now over $15 million. I mean, look at all these messages behind that huge number. They were screaming to Paper Games that they were making a mistake here. But while the frustration is understandable and their socials being brigaded was to be expected, what really stood out here was how a big chunk of the global audience decided to protest.
Valco haters sending manure to the office, bullying and harassing info players, right incels. Valco girls, they donate to shelters. Oh, clock! Buy billboards, flowers, and chocolate. Right about their love for Chinese culture and Valco. Love is stronger than hate. Oh, you can tell like those incels that hate Valco. You are Karens. You are a disgrace to the society.
While Valco haters were busy sending manure and other things to the HQ of Paper Games, the global audience that wanted Valco in the game decided to instead use their money for good. Some would fundraise enough money to buy a billboard in Times Square saying "Bring Valco Back," and this billboard crowdfunding strategy would occur all over the world, in New York, in the Philippines, in Malaysia, in Thailand, hell, even in Peru,
where's the
all over the
Philippines?
world, in New York, in the Philippines, in Malaysia, in Thailand,
This one is, I don't know what it is.
hell, even in Peru. This was them truly showing solidarity between each other, even though they
You
came
want
from
Valco.
such different countries and regions. But I mentioned this audience using their money for good, and that's exactly what they
GoFundMe.
did in Valco's name. They would donate to a women's shelter in Canada and say that this donation is from Valco. They would donate over $44,000 for the Guangxi flood relief in Valco's name as well. This was a place that was hit by severe flooding in China, and these Valco enjoyers were pretty much helping them out. You'd have 11 Deep Space player that normally spent $1,500 every 2 weeks on
Girl.
the game.
You should spend our money for this. That's the
Decide to
game.
instead use that money to feed over 400 dogs in 3 different shelters, while again doing so in Valco's name. There are so
Aw.
many examples.
The good things that happen for
Simples
Valco. Yeah, and what about Rafi, Xavier? What did they do?
like
What
this,
did they
with
do?
donations coming from global players for Chinese causes like wildlife conservation, or uniting to save an endangered species, or raising money over $20,000 for wolf conservation because Valco's a half wolf guy, and also donating over 100 chocolate milk bars to 100 kids in Indonesia, all while using Valco's name and appearance, making him out to be a symbol of hope rather than a symbol that threatened women's safety like in China. All of this was done in the hope that on July 9th, when 6.0 would come out, Paper Games would change their minds.
July
They would
9th.
still decide to release Valco even though they cancelled him. And they would take this activism even IRL, because Love and Deep Space would have a booth in Anime Expo in the US. There, they'd have different cosplayers meant to represent every love interest.
Oh yeah,
But
wait, when was this
unfortunately, in the
again?
US, activism even
in the US,
IRL,
right?
because Love and Deep Space would have a booth in Anime Expo in the US. There, they'd have different cosplayers meant to represent every love interest. But unfortunately, it seemed like there was there they'd
sorry, I
have
wasn't
IRL,
listening.
because Love and Deep Space would have a booth in Anime Expo in the
Anime
US.
Expo in the
There,
US.
they'd have different cosplayers meant to represent every
Oh, and there's a big space. There's a big space. They're like, where is he?
love interest.
Where
But
is
unfortunately, it seemed like there was one booth meant for Valco that was cancelled last minute.
Ooh.
So what did they do? Did they bring cow poop or
Girl.
weapon? No. Instead, they go around asking people to pick their favorite lad by placing a star around them, and Valco would receive the most stars. This was again meant to showcase the staff that we want Valco back. But while they did make it to Anime Expo, on July 8th, they would start canceling different events that they were meant to attend. Like for example, an event that was meant to take place in Japan, saying, after carefully reviewing the event content in light of changes to the in-game content, so removing Valko, we have decided to cancel the event. On that same day, they would also announce the cancellation of a massive event scheduled for Bilibili World, a huge event in China. And so by now, this was attracting all sorts of global media publications, with Jing Daily publishing an article titled, China's top otome game lost 70 million hearts in 10 days.
So sad, though.
Hell,
The
even
music is
TV
so
news
sad.
channels were talking about this too. And hell, even Queso would talk about this somehow. A chatter would tell him about the drama, Queso would look into it and say, 11 Deep Space is wrong for scrapping its newest character, saying they didn't bring out the character because the fans said he was ugly, that's messed up. So look, all of this was meant to raise awareness, but also showcase to the Chinese government agencies that this game was not an element of chaos. It was an element of goodness. These donations in Valko's name were meant to spread positivity and goodness across the world.
they
And to
are
be
mad
honest, they
stupid.
did.
They don't
Objectively
know.
speaking, that's exactly what they did. Instead of fighting fire with fire, the global audience decided to fight fire with good, with water.
With shit.
It was also done to show Paper Games just how much of a mistake they were making by listening to the toxic side of their fan base instead of the good
Yup.
side. The
Yup.
one that was willing to
Yup.
donate hundreds of
Yup.
thousands of dollars
Yup.
to charities in
Yup.
Valko's name was the one
Yeah,
who was
they
really being
listened to
hurt
the
with it.
toxic side of the community, which is stupid. Like the community that decided to donate, wouldn't you like to cater to that in the moral sense, or do you just want to chase after money? The people who give money are the people who are bitches.
The hope was that on July 9th, Valko would still somehow show up when they would open the app after updating.
didn't.
But unfortunately for
Spoiler alert, it didn't.
them.
There was news on Twitter. I saw it.
that day would end up being the darkest in this community's history. On July 9th, 2026, the 6.0 update would come out for 11 Deep Space. Many players downloaded
Don't want to talk about it.
it hoping to open the app and find Valko waiting for them there. Instead, they found nothing. No Valko, no new main story, just the new kitchen feature, and that was just about it. Some people would have issues downloading this update, and so 11 Deep Space would make this post saying today's update has concluded, while giving some pointers as to how to fix these errors, like reinstalling the game, for example. This would be the last post on their socials up until mid-July. And so everyone would take out their grievances right here. It would get over
Address me.
17,000 replies. Again, ratioed multiple times with people in complete disbelief. How could you? Instead of listening to the
Address
good
me.
side of the community, people who are willing to put money where their mouth is and donate to good causes in Valko's name, how could you listen to the toxic people who send you literal cow shit to your offices? The global players felt like someone had put
Because the cow shit smells worse than the cow shit outside, which is weird because there's no cow shit in the
a
global
knife in
stage.
their back. And what didn't help was that this update was
What is this?
extremely
Oh,
buggy. I mean, there are certain things in here that my nightmares wouldn't
Oh my! Oh my god! What is this? This is worse. Oh, I never thought Oh my god! What the fuck is that?
even be able to conjure up. Like, what is this? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, how does this even
Oh my god! Why is this giving Tori Amos a sort of fairy tale music video? Why is this giving Tori Amos a sort of fairy tale music video? Oh my god!
happen? Like, I don't even know, like, what kind of code, what, like,
I'm so sad, like a good book. I can't put this day back. It's
how does this
so
even
fairy
occur?
tale.
Here's my favorite glitch, personally.
Oh my god! Yeah, I love that.
What the fuck is that?
I was like, "What?"
Anyway, the first thing that players did after not
Notice
seeing
that the coming soon
Valko
is
was go to the
gone.
love interest character selection screen and
I
see
saw it
whether
on
the
Twitter,
whole
not
coming
in the
soon
game.
text was still there. And to their extreme disappointment, it wasn't. It seemed like Paper Games was intent on the promise of no more new characters. This was the worst possible news for just about any player. The community was devastated. This was a character they were very excited for, that they couldn't wait to interact with, and he was gone as quickly as he had arrived to their lives. Slowly but surely, any remaining hope players had was being removed right in front of them. Like, for example, the Valko channel and the 11 Deep Space official Discord server would be deleted after the update would go live. And after all this time, things were really starting to set in for many players. So we're just getting a stupid rerun of a banner instead of a new love interest, a new main story update, new cards, new myths, new poses, new interactions. This wasn't just about Valko. This was the biggest update of the year, and all of a sudden, it's not coming anymore. And remember how people were now fearful of further censorship now that the game had attracted.
Oh yeah, I saw this. Like when I was like going to the city, I saw it was so embarrassing because like my phone is like big and then like this and the screen pop up with shirtless dudes with their abs and everything and they're like fucking the girl, and then like there are some scenes that were censored because they were like literally humping them.
Multiple government agencies? Well, that's exactly what happened.
Damn.
All the love interests had a certain theme of an outfit in which they had numerology on them, numbers that signified different meanings. Well, they were all censored, or just straight up removed. Look at this, for example. It said 95, now it says gibberish. This was no doubt done to avoid any other 731 issues, and that's simply what
They're so
happens when you
tired.
become an element of chaos in China. Many global players and even Chinese players warned these extremely toxic and loud fans in China that any censorship, any removal of something in game will result in even more censorship. And that's exactly what was happening. What added more fuel to the fire was that some rumors would start spreading about the role that Valko would have played in the main story. Like the fact that he was the one who fixed Caleb's arm, or that he's a friend to Zane. These dynamics between the characters in the story is exactly why people played Love in Deep Space, and there they were, having to watch it get confiscated from them.
Yeah,
And so
they were like, "What happened to your friend? He died."
People started drawing up comparisons to another game made by Paper Games called Infinity Nikki, which I made a video
Yeah, he made a video of that, which is funny because there was a time I watched it when I was eating. I was like, "Damn, Infold again," and it happened again. Oh god!
about around a year ago. That game had sudden censorship one day, where its tutorial level, its actual lore was
And then they changed the entire the tutorial
changed
game.
for no reason. It was retconned. And even though the community had boycotted the game for months and created a large movement around it, Paper Games didn't budge.
Nah.
That terrible tutorial level is still there today. And what was also interesting is that the update that removed the tutorial level came with a lot of bugs. So at this point, it almost seemed like it was a pattern for any game Paper Games had made. And it didn't really inspire optimism. This was really the worst case scenario, but bear in mind, not just for global players, for Chinese players too, even the toxic ones. This Chinese player here would make it very clear in a post they made on Weibo.
Some of them lied.
They'd say that with this outcome, everyone loses.
Loses.
More importantly though, this game was a great outlet to promote overseas players' understanding of Chinese culture,
Yep.
as well as Chinese success.
Yep.
Now, many of the players that were affected globally are not just vowing to boycotting Love in Deep Space, they're vowing to boycott any Chinese game. This
Yep.
player would go very hard on these toxic Chinese players,
Yep.
blaming them for halting the success
Stupid
of a
bitches.
Chinese company and
Yep.
therefore a Chinese cultural export,
Yep.
while also lamenting the fact that this game was pretty much ruined, as well as its reputation
Yep.
in anything made
My
in China.
god, so stupid.
This also led many Love in Deep Space players to look forward to a competitor's release called Silent Whispers,
Really?
another 3D high-quality Otome game in which they hope to be treated better. This trailer right here was released 2 months
Why does he look like Silas?
ago, and all the top comments are just people being like, use this fumble from Love in Deep Space to
Give us a date. Use this fumble to rise. Goodbye, lads. Hello, Silent Whisper. Goodbye, lads. Finally, they released the Atomic Gears have
rise.
PC.
Or Goodbye Love in Deep Space, Hello Silent Whisper, because this game would also be giving them something that they wanted for a long time, a PC client. It seemed like they were actually listening, unlike Paper Games. But it would take a lot at this point to fully crush all hope that the community had for Valko.
I don't think so. Here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. If they do bring back Valko, I will return. I will return. I shall return. I will crawl back. I will crawl back to my phone and be like, let's download this game and Matt and Goon.
Valko releasing. One
But in respect to
player
Valko,
will point out, hey,
Yup,
listen, when
yup.
3.0 came out and Caleb came out, he didn't come out on the first day of the update. He came around in the second half of the update. So in other words, hey, when the second half of this update comes out on July 17th, let's hope that we'll find Valko there waiting for us. What they'd end up finding instead, though, pure and utter disappointment. At this point, Love in Deep Space Chinese revenue was doing horrendously bad, worse than it's ever been. On one day, they'd maybe make $200,000. Now they were making $60,000. Yes, it's still a lot of money, but it's less than half of what they made before. This showed that the Chinese audience, genuinely, the majority, the people who actually spend money, were outraged still at Valko not being included. And these were the consumers that mattered. And at the same time, as people were hoping...
They're listening to toxic bitches that spend their entire days in Twitter be like, we hate other cultures. Like, girl, touch some grass and shut the fuck up.
that Valko would come in the second half of the update, they'd get an in-game notice saying that actually the second half would have a heartfelt gift for Zane.
Zane, but I can't believe this is how Infinite going to start announcing things from now on. They might as well deactivate the official Let's account since they don't have any use for it. God, this company is usually
free 5-star memory in which you interact with him. Now what's interesting is that the official social media accounts wouldn't make this announcement. As I said, it's been a ghost town since the 9th of July. It would only be announced through an in-game notice, okay? So further making their communication style even worse, and going against the promise that they made at the end of June saying we'll communicate more with you guys. What was really interesting though, was that there would be this Twitter account with the handle Z, with a Zane profile picture, that would leak the trailer for this memory, something that was meant to be posted by the official social media accounts. Once enough people found it, the account would delete itself. Many players pointed out that they didn't like the trailer because the face of the protagonist, which is the character that you create, the woman that you create, would be hidden throughout the trailer. The reason why this is a problem is because many Western players like to self-insert themselves into the game, while Chinese players don't like that.
That's so weird because in many trailers you can see the woman's face. Oh, is that why they censored? I remember the censored part in the fuck scenes. In the fuck scenes. We didn't see the woman's face anymore.
It seemed like even with this trailer, they were still trying to satisfy the most toxic players in China. However, even after all this, there was still hope because something positive out of China would come out on July 15th, 2026. Various media outlets would publish positive reports related to Valko, ones that might be deemed as government affiliated. To be specific, there'd be 5. The first one being Reform Network, the second one being Tencent, the third one being Business Daily, the fourth one being NetEase, and the fifth one being Phoenix News. However, by July 16th, 4 of the 5 would be deleted, and only 1 would remain. And that would be the one posted on the website of the National Development and Reform Commission, otherwise known as the NDRC. The 4 others would be paid ads, and it would be mentioned at the end of the articles. I don't know whether it's players wanting Valko back that paid for it, I don't know whether it's Paper Games that did that, but it caused a lot of confusion. The reason why this article was a big deal was because it was somewhat state-affiliated, and it talked about the efforts being made to bring Valko back globally in a positive manner. It would say, with overseas players continuing to voice their opinions, how can Chinese games translate global feedback into increased content? As of July 15th, the main petition on the overseas petition platforms iPetitions demanding the reinstatement of the romanceable new character Valko in the game Love and Deep Space had garnered over 240,000 signatures and 80,000 comments. Meanwhile, on Change.org's game petition page, 3 main petitions related to Valko received 96,000, 21,000, and 5,900 signatures respectively. This 2-week-long cross-platform participation indicates that overseas users' demands have not subsided quickly despite the character's removal. Following the cancellation, overseas players' actions gradually expanded from petitions to fan art, charitable donations, and offline events. Unlike the initial comments and emotional expressions that emerged during the early stages of the game's controversy, the actions of overseas players have now continued beyond the originally scheduled launch date. In the comments section of the main petition page on iPetitions, some users stated that they were inspired by Valko to download, return to, or continue following the game, while others suggested compromises such as delays or modifications before release. This article would then take this further, giving us numbers, saying that 60% of the revenue from the game comes from China, but that the rest comes from global players, highlighting just how important their opinions are. This was significant because up until now, everyone's data points were all...
They're appealing to the Chinese market because that's where they get a lot of their income from. Unfortunately, in a logical sense, they would have to appeal for the toxic Chinese audience, unfortunately.
All over the place.
Save money,
this is a
save
privately
face.
held company, and they typically don't really reveal the demographic portions, but seeing that this is a government-affiliated publication, these numbers hold more weight. And what really made Valko enjoyers optimistic while reading this article would be one of the final paragraphs, where it would say, whether Valko will be reinstated should be determined by Paper Games based on content quality, market data, and long-term planning. However, the continued growth of overseas petitions has provided a significant signal. When a character can generate signatures, creative works, charitable activities, and offline actions in multiple countries and regions, re-examining and product validation of them is not merely a response to public opinion, but may also be a repricing of global user needs and existing content investment. For a leading product like Love and Deep Space that already has a global user base, turning this feedback into richer content offerings and more refined overseas operational capabilities is perhaps more valuable than letting related demands remain outside the game in the long run. So for many Western players, this was as if the Chinese government was telling Paper Games, hey, whether you want to keep shooting yourself in the foot or not, that's just up to you, we don't really care. But you should probably reinstate him. So as I said, for many, this article was a celebration, like, oh my god, our efforts are actually doing something. And they kind of are. This article acknowledged all the good things they were doing. Like, these news were reaching China, which was wonderful. At the same time, it also see Chinese government agencies reminding people that malicious reviews, harming the reputation of businesses, online harassment, use of bots, paid accounts, AI-generated posts are against the law. So again, to many, this felt like they were directing this towards people who engaged in this behavior against Love and Deep Space, and that they were about to get in trouble with the
women
law.
have no
This
jobs.
again signaled to people that, hey, maybe things are finally calming down. Some Chinese players would even use a VPN to get on Twitter to thank overseas players for the positive engagement they were bringing to the game and to Valco. Like this post saying, overseas sisters, without you all, none of this would be possible. Honestly, it was very wholesome. It was wonderful how a community so large could work together regardless of borders or distance or culture. But of course, in parallel, the toxic Chinese players had a movement of their own. And there was coordinated effort on Chinese social media to counter any positive news coming out from Valco fans. But we just read a government-affiliated publication just highlight these positive things, so I don't know if it's working that well. When it came to Love and Deep Space though, as I said, they had a total media blackout. The only thing they had said ever since the July 9th update post would be a Facebook reply about winners of some giveaway or something or competition.
Really?
Here, they'd indicate that they were going to post again on
Angry-
July 29th
the angry emote,
talking
the
about
angry
winners.
reactions at the
While of
bottom.
course getting like 36 angry reactions. Does this mean that their media blackout will last until the 29th and then they'll post again regularly, maybe updating the community? Who knows?
They're
But
trying,
so far,
I think, for them in terms of marketing, they're like they're waiting for the situation to settle down. But I don't know. People are very gonna be very disappointed not seeing Valco, unfortunately. And they're just gonna start from there, and then their reputation will be forever be tarnished because of what happened. Unkept promises, schedule stupidity, and something
as I
like
said,
that.
total media blackout. Even with a new free memory coming out in-game, still nothing, and no trailer as well, of course. So look, overall, the ball was now in the court of Paper Games.
It's all
Are they
them.
actually going to bring back Valco? Or are they going to listen to this disgusting, toxic side of their community and throw their global community that's willing to donate to charities in Valco's name under the bus? It remains to be seen. But honestly, seeing that they had made the terrible decision of removing Infinity Nikki's amazing tutorial and backstory, and refused to change it even after massive backlash and a big boycott,
Another
I just
one.
don't know if this developer is capable of listening to the community on such major issues. This also might truly be out of their hands. This might be out of their control completely, but we don't have proof. We can only assume on what's going on behind the scenes, and I prefer not to assume. And I do hope that Valco is
Fair. Thank God he said that. I don't prefer to assume, because when he assumed last time, we canceled the hell out of Mujin.
brought back to this game. If you had to ask me though, I'm not very optimistic, but hey, seeing that this community has been very
That's fair.
optimistic and donating to so many amazing causes, you know what? I'll change my mind and be optimistic too. Let's hope for the best, because if that happens, it'll be a wonderful story that will
Well,
be
I'm not optimistic. I don't know. Like I as much, like, here's the thing. Too much hope will definitely hurt you, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the women who play this understands as well. That's why they play this game, because they don't want to be hurt by real life men, because men suck. Here we are, a game controlled, owned by men. By men, and now we are here not being unkept promises of release, and did not happen because of the government. And then women, and now this time it's the women's fault for being stupid toxic bitches. And now here we are. I really hope that he's gonna come out. I really do wish that he would come out. Come out. But I don't know. Considering strict laws in China and the developers' appeal towards the Chinese community, I don't think it's gonna happen. Goodbye armpit. Look at the armpit. I don't like armpits, but I like this part.
never forgotten on the internet. And with that, I want to thank my wonderful community for making this very comprehensive Google Doc about the entire
made a
incident
Google Doc.
involving Valco.
I'm pretty sure he just Mujin just read throughout the Google Doc so that he's not gonna be bothered to do a lot of research.
With sections like speculations, a glossary for people who have no idea about the game and the different terms used, memes, Twitter links.
But
I didn't even
that's
ask them to
fair.
do this. They just did it by themselves because they're so passionate about this game
Yeah.
and the community. So thank you to I, Dea, Doc, Jin, Helianthus, Laurel Doll, Mimi, Ray, Red Rose, Sen, Starfall,
Oh,
Watt,
Watt,
and
and
Woof.
Woof.
You guys are the best. And if you want to propose topics for me to talk about in my videos, or just talk about different topics with like-minded individuals, then definitely join my Discord server. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I really appreciate it, especially this video because it was such a pain in the ass to make. This video was posted one day early on my Stacked. I don't typically do this, but this needed to be definitely double checked by some people in my community.
Yep,
but if you want to see
fair.
exclusive content from me there, definitely check it out. Prices start at $1. And if you want...
Okay, so I think that's it. I don't want to promote Mugen, but you can watch Mugen's video to, like, you know, you know, to see all of his stuff. Let me see what else. Okay, so I think that's it. I will go with the end scene. Hey! No! The end scene, and then I'm gonna go for my final thoughts, and then I'm gonna disappear. This one.
Space character, okay? Mwah!
VIP in China cost 600. For Google Pay, it's cost 6,000. I've heard enough. Eviscerate Valko. So I wanna say my final thoughts before I end. Oh hey, hey Isabella, sup? How's your stream going? I noticed you watch YouTube. Yep, I'm reacting to Mugen's video about love and gay porn. I'm not playing any games because I'm still kind of I'm not supposed to stream today, but I wanted to react to this. I wanted to react to this because love and I play this game. Okay, I play this game. I haven't played it in a while, but I respect the art and the, you know, the scenes of this game. But it's so sad what happened, you know, about Valko. I was interested in Valko. I didn't realize that people like the Chinese community hated him. It's so weird. And then I want to say my final thoughts about this. Because I was about to end stream, by the way. It's like I've been streaming for 2 hours. I gotta say, like, what's so wrong about like having a new love interest? Like, in the sense that, like, I think some women are very possessive when it comes to the you know, the main 3 or the 5 that they have. But like, what's wrong with having another one? Like, wrong with the Chinese players? What's your favorite game? Like your favorite story mode games? I like both, I guess. But I really don't understand why a lot of the Chinese community like don't like Valko because he's gay. That's so, you know, that's not a good look. That's not a good look. That's not a good look. But it's like, it's such a reach though. It's such a reach, and I'm pretty sure it's part of Infold's fault for like the marketing. Like there was a part in the Chinese translation where it's kind of invasive and weird in comparison to the English translation, and they didn't do a lot of research. They didn't do a lot of research for you know, for some of the things that was said or stated in the game, which is so weird. But honestly, if it would have been fine if they said, okay, Valko is the 6th love interest and we will not release any more love interest anymore, that would have been fine. But canceling Valko straight up was so bad. It was a bad decision. I wish like they would reverse the decision. I'm pretty sure the reason there's a lot of bugs because they remove a major part in the storyline and that's where there are a lot of bugs. And then I think also the censorship in the game is so bad. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm a Filipino. Yeah, I'm also Filipino. Yeah, I'm Pinoy. Pinoy ako, Pinoy tayo. Ipakita sa mundo kung ano kaya mo. Wait, what's the next lyrics? Iba't ibang Pinoy, wag kang tatakot. I think, I forgot the lyrics. Pinoy ako, Pinoy tayo. Hey, I know that lyrics. It was like old school Filipino music. What was I thinking? I just think that yeah, it was a flop. That what they did was a flop, and I really wish that they would change They would change the decision, but I don't think that they would because of what happened with Infinity Nikki. Mijin made another video about Infinity Nikki a few months ago or a year ago, and they did not reverse the decision that they made, which was so stupid. And now here we are. I just think I think Bako deserves a chance. He didn't even come out yet. Come out of the closet, Bako. It's so sad. Um, it's so sad that we don't get to see him. A lot of the streamers are like, free him, but do you really care? But like, also, I think that's just them like feeling bad about the situation, and the reason he didn't get released because he's gay apparently, and then he's gay apparently, and also like they don't like like man invading women's spaces. He hasn't been released yet. You don't know his full story. You don't know what he's like. How dare you judge him? How dare you judge a book by its cover? And then like he was interesting. I saw the trailer for him. I was like, oh damn, they have a new one. Oh, he looks nice. And then like the Chinese people be like, ew. It's sad. I really wish that they give Valko a chance. But yeah. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I wanted. Oh yeah, I was supposed to say, a fun fact about lads, but I don't want to say it anymore because it's so inappropriate now. Oh my god, it was inappropriate because okay, I'm gonna say a fact. Okay, you know I play the game, right? Okay, I play the game. I don't use my name. I d- I don't use my name in the game because I don't like the feeling of them saying my name. Also, my real name is weird. I don't like my real name because it's cringe. But I don't like my real name because it's cringe. What happened was um yeah, what happened was when they asked me for my name in the game, I did not want to like give out my name because weird. So you know what my name was? The name that I gave the female character was from a porn star. A gay porn star, which is so much worse. Oh my god, because I wanna like I wanna feel nothing when he says my name. I wanna feel nothing. And then it was oh my god, it was and when and whenever like the main character says my name, hey oh I was like, all right, I forgot my name is the porn star. I don't want to say it because it's we're the internet. I don't want to say it, but it's just it's so hilarious though. I like if I play the game again on stream, you will know. But just so you know, ooh, just so you know. But anyway, yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. It's been 2 hours. I don't know what I will plan to come back next week because I want to do a painting stream. I want to paint. I want to paint because I bought some painting things from Manila and I want to do it because I don't think. Also, I like 2 weeks ago before I got busy with studying, I was painting my sister. I was finishing painting my sister's gift that I gave to her, but she didn't finish, and some of the paints already dried. So I'm planning to use some of the paints that I will have left from the painting. My painting is for painting numbers, paint by numbers, and it feels really cathartic when you paint by hand rather than painting by painting in the online. It feels weird. Online painting is weird, but like me shading Mecha Chameleon, but I really prefer painting by hand than painting by like the internet. That's why it's always hard for me to like do digital drawing because I feel like a hassle, but it's fine when you draw, but I don't like when you paint. Painting is hard in digital art. But anyway, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next week. because the reason I came back it's just for this stream, just for lads, and also Valko is love. Hashtag Valko is love. Hashtag bring back Valko. Hashtag he's. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye 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 bye. Yes, I am Filipino. I said a Tagalog song. What are the other Tagalog songs that I know? Bamboo. I don't know any songs from Bamboo. What else? I I I hate Andrew E. I don't like his rap. Sorry, though it's iconic, but I hate raps. I hate rap music. What else? What else? What else? I just love a scene. Ding ding ding. Ding ding ding. Ang tuldok ay may salaysay at may kahulugan na dapat mapansin at maintindihan. Kahit sino ka man ay dapat malaman na dito sa mundo ikaw ay tuldok lang. I really love the messages of the song. That's like the true Filipino music. True Filipino music. The music made by Asin. It was so good. Anyway, that's it. Goodbye. Yeah.